Okay.
So I would say that for the draft, from my perspective, the draft was very well thought out. Both of you had pretty decent civs that were quite meta on the maps you played. You both also had comfortable civs that you could play. So I don't know how much you studied of Endo's play, but Endo likes using Japanese, and he particularly favors aggressive play. He also recently had training from combat, and training in combat means that scouts play is something that you should expect a lot from him.
Really? Okay.
uh,
I did not. Real
Combat.
quick. So I'm 29 seconds in. Do you want to just go ahead and play it from there?
Sure, go ahead. I can look at the game while I'm just waiting for my AOV to load, but sure, you can load the game first.
Chef says turn you up. So let me do that real quick. Say something.
Hello.
Okay. Seems like a nominal difference, but all right. So are you? Let me know when you're ready for me to play it at 29 seconds.
Okay, then we'll just talk about the draft first. So if you remember the maps that you guys played on, so first map is Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
So that one is so you had Runestone's Hideout, Gold Rush for Endo, and then you had Atacama, Crater, Ghost Lake for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these maps, right, all favor very aggressive play. That means very aggressive play will be awarded.
Mm-hmm.
Runestones I don't need to say much. The only like very defensive style boom maps you can play on this Hideout and Ghost Lake. But even then, if you execute good feudal or castle age pressure, you can kill an opponent who goes purely a defensive economic style of strategy. And depending on the save, you actually want to push hard or you want to boom hard.
Gotcha.
So we'll talk about the sieves that you guys played later. But both of you picked very aggressive sieves as well. From my understanding. So let me go back and look at the sieve draft, because I'm not sure if that is still available.
I wasn't sure how to look that up. I remember the civs that I drafted. I know the civs that he played in each match. I don't remember which one. Oh, actually, it'll come to me as I think about the maps.
So I think you guys drafted okay. Both I think both sides had pretty decent overall good sieves for the maps. I would say that your sieve drafts, I would say, was a bit more funky, just because you have a few sieves that you don't normally see high yield. But I think for
The
you,
Teutons.
no, Teutons is actually okay. The Teutons on Hideout is actually totally like I would have expected Teutons on Hideout or Ghost Lake, because those are maps where you can actually make use of the slower Teuton army composition.
Mm-hmm.
And I do know that Teutons is one of your signature sieves. So to me, a signature sieve, or basically a sieve that the player is comfortable with, those are always very interesting to see in show matches, because those are sieves that you know that the other player will be comfortable with, so they'll be able to do certain things with that sieve.
Mm-hmm.
That other, like, basically they can play that sieve well, they understand that sieve well, and because of that they are able to do stuff with that sieve that other people who don't really put as many hours into that sieve can do. So I think that having Teutons in that draft was okay. I think you also picked some really very nice sieves to play in your matches. So you picked what was it, Vikings, I believe?
Yeah, Vikings, Teutons, Lithuanians, Berbers, Bohemians, and I think I picked and Franks.
Yeah,
And
you
Franks
sniped the
got
Franks.
sniped, and I sniped his Mayan.
His
So I
Mayans.
had Mayans to play with.
Yeah. So in a draft, right, for show matches, it's very important that you pick a draft that can favor multiple kinds of strategy, so that you can adapt to what your opponent is looking. So for example, your opponent had a lot of very strong cavalry Swiss as well. So at the end of the day, he had Franks, he had Huns. Um, I I didn't like that he didn't have. I didn't like that you didn't have another Mezzo Sith to pick. But it's totally okay to have a Sith without Mezzo in it because maybe you're not familiar. But generally, having one Mezzo Sith is better than not having any Mezzo Sith at all. Just
Yeah.
because you can make use of the Mezzo Sith.
I was considering picking Mayans, and he picked them pretty early, and but yeah, I'm not super comfortable per se with Mesosivs, but I have played a bit with Mayans, and if I can remember that they start a little bit differently, then I've done pretty okay with them. To me, in my opinion, they're just a really strong Civ. It's kind of hard to mess them up.
I can understand that. So, in terms of the Civ, right? I would say try and practice around with Aztecs, because Aztecs actually have a really very strong military bonus. They also have a very strong Civ bonus. So I would say that the Aztecs is a Mezzo Civ you can consider. Faster producing military. They also have really good what's that thing called? They have really good eco bonus. Basically what happens is their units can carry more resources, and that's actually a pretty good bonus. It means that if you play a very aggressive strategy, for example, you can actually do stuff like eco behind, and that's actually really important. Because at the end of the day, when you're playing Mezzo, right? Mezzo Civs have very good eco bonuses or military bonus, so it is really very helpful just to have like one or two Mezzo Civs up your alley in a draft, so that if the time comes for a Mezzo Civ strat, you can use it. So for example, in the maps you played, Atacama, Aztecs is actually very strong in Atacama as well.
I could see that, yeah.
What other maps? Crater is also a very good map for Aztecs. It's very boxed in. It's also got some really nice choke points for Mezzo to make use of. So the open wood lines, the front of the base can also be very open to attack. So eagles can run in and cause havoc. And yeah, so basically, if you ask me honestly, I would say that it is nice to have a Mezzo Civ in the draft. But like I said, if you are not comfortable with that, then that's also fine. Because I'm not gonna say, oh, you should have done this, should have done that, when you weren't even prepared. Like there are a lot of times where you play a show match and you think to yourself, oh, I should try this strategy, but if you didn't practice it, then you're kind of giving your
I practiced a little bit on the ladder with Mayans before the show match, and I actually saw some I think Mayans really just kicking ass in I don't know, Doubt was using them or something, and my perspective on the Mayans is really that like you have one of the, you're automatically one of the best archer civs in the game. You have really strong economic bonuses, and if somehow they survive long enough to counter your archers, you also have the best eagle warriors in the game. So really strong economy, lots of archers, and if you're gonna have so many archers, you're gonna force a counter, and anything that counters archers is going to be countered by eagle warriors, except maybe knights. But
I think that's a very fair look at the situation.
I think Franks might be sort of maybe in the running to produce enough knights to have a chance at dealing with Franks or Berbers to produce enough knights if they get the armor to deal with the archers, and then they can also probably hold their own against the eagle warriors. But I don't know. I think Mayans late game probably have better eco than
Yeah,
either.
we'll talk more about Mezzo later on. Because later on we'll have the Mezzo game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll talk more about that later on.
So
So
game one, you were talking about comfort civs earlier, and I don't know much about Ando and his strategies. You definitely have better insight into that, but we kind of been like popping in on each other's streams here and there, and I had seen him practicing with Huns and Mayans. That's about all the intel I had. And with starting Arabia and like looking at his thing, like, okay, if he's practicing Huns, I think Huns are fine on Arabia. I think he's gonna go Huns, basically. So of my of the civs that I had drafted, I picked Berbers, and my reasoning behind that. I mean, feel free to disagree. I'm curious if you think there was a better counter to Huns than the Berbers in my lineup, or in the game. I don't know, but I felt like scouts opening. I'm gonna have cheaper scouts, so I can make more of them. If he goes into knights, I have cheaper camels. If he goes into horse archers, I have not only cheaper camels and knights, which can engage horse archers, but the unique Genitor unit. And if it goes late and he still has, like, if it gets that the massive cavalry archers, the Berber other unique unit, or the main unique unit, is actually an anti-cavalry archer. I couldn't pick a more perfect civ for countering the Huns, if you ask me.
Yep, that's a very fair assessment. You also have a very interesting bonus in that you actually how do I phrase it? So you have a lot of anti-archer and you have anti-cavalry options, and Huns they do not have very strong infantry, or rather they want to stay on their cavalry and their cavalry archers for as long as possible.
Yeah.
So if you genuinely just make a lot of camels, you will be fine. At a higher level, people are better at using monks, so that's probably the only thing that you have to be aware of. Even though Huns have bad monks, having monks is better than not having monks at all. And some very nice conversions will be really good. Of course, if you go knight versus knight, Berber versus Huns, I would still give the advantage to Huns, especially if they have a good leg up in eco.
What is the Hun knight bonus? Remind me.
The Hun bonus is that their sables produce faster.
Also, that's right. Should we start this game in particular now that we're talking about?
Yeah. By your count.
Okay, I'm on 29 seconds. I'm gonna play it in 3, 2, 1, playing.
Okay, so so this game, obviously opener game, Arabia. There are a couple of meta Arabia civs, but generally the options for Arabia are supposed to be very open. Any strategy is supposed to work here. Of course, like I said, there are civs with strategies that are better on this map. So Huns actually, I'll give them really good, nice favor until the early castle age. So this particular game, it was just a fill out game. Okay, every show match, every tourney match will have one game that usually starts with Arabia, and it's to fill out your opponent. So that's just to see what your opponent can do on a regular strategy. And also, since you were playing Runestones later, it's a very good chance for you to kind of look and see what your opponent can possibly do. So let's talk about strategy. What was your strategy going into this game? Like, after you loaded the game, you see your opponent playing Huns on Arabia. What was your strategy here?
So I love the Berbers in Castle Age, and I think my priority was to survive 2 Castle Age so I can utilize those counters. My perspective was go scouts opening, but I wasn't. I didn't feel like I was going to be able to kill him in feudal, and so yeah, the scouts were essentially defensive, and when it came to that time, I sort of used them. My regret was that I don't think I small walled when I probably should have. If I think he's going to go scouts, and I definitely did, and especially once I knew he was going scouts, I didn't protect myself. But I think it worked out in the end. But yeah, so the opening is basically like, okay, I'm going to open with scouts, and but I want to make sure that my eco is solid, so I can be really fast with getting say like +2 armor knights, or and knights and camels are where I really want to take this.
All right, that's very fair. I would say that your Dark Age in this particular game was okay. My only criticism is that you could have put the mill to the right side of the berries rather than the left. That way you can touch more berries. Other than that, I think your Dark Age was okay, especially for your Elo. I don't understand the idle TC time, but I guess it's because you were pulling your ball, so you forgot to fast drop before you drop the bomb, the second ball down. Or I mean the first ball down, not the second ball.
Idle
that kind of thing. Idle TC time in Dark Age is usually because of lack of practice. So if you practice this kind of build a whole lot, then
I see the 18 seconds. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. It won't be the first time you see it, I'm sure.
I think for your Elo, you're almost approaching 12xx already. So around this Elo, idle TC time is starting to play a small factor. It won't be a determining factor, of course. If you see me and Chef cast other games, usually idle TC time is not such a big deal the lower Elo you are, because at the end of the day, your strategy and how you do your game is usually the more important part. Now, I just want to point out really quickly, right? You said that you didn't small wall even though you know your enemy was going scouts, right?
Yeah, not when I wanted to. I think I did a good job quick walling the left side when I saw. Let me rephrase. I went for like a full base wall, and then when I saw the scouts coming, I mean, hooray for me! I did see the scouts coming, but then my small walls were a reaction. And if I remember correctly, I got them down on the left side, but they failed on the right side. I didn't get them properly, or I couldn't see a gap. Anyway, there was a gap, so I got punished for that on the right side. In a few minutes.
To my knowledge, you didn't really lose that much bills, and it didn't really cost a lot of idle eco time. And usually that's the most important thing. So even if you let the scouts in, right, sometimes you can still take a very favorable trade. Like let's say you let one scout in, he's surrounded by 4 bills. The bills kill the scout, and they didn't kill any bill. They didn't get any idle eco time. That is a favorable trade. So just because you let the scouts in doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna lose. You already lost. Sometimes it just means by how is your reaction to the scouts coming into your base, for example.
Yeah.
So you do have a few you do have an that build on the left is making a barracks. Sorry. If you as common practice, right, when you scout your opponent's base, right, you can't just scout, okay, I know where my opponent is. You actually want to see what is the timing of his barracks. Okay, that's important. Now, when you walk past your opponent's base, right, and this is important for 1v1s also, like ladder games. You walk past your opponent's base, take note of what is the timing to put down his barracks, because that's going to tell you what build order he's going for. So if you had spotted Endo laying down the barracks while you were clicking up, it means that you can be very confident that Endo is not going for man-at-arms. And even though he's playing Hans, that doesn't mean that he cannot go for man-at-arms.
Right, so he could go like man-at-arms into Archer, and I could know that if I was on the barracks.
Yeah. So there's a lot of times, right, that you think that a Sith is going to do this because they have a Sith bonus for it. Not necessarily they will open that way. So for example, Magias, for example, they have a scout bonus, and it's really cheap for them to go scout.
I am running my at this point in time. I am like I have my scout up there. I'm trying to spot the whatever it is. I'm anticipating scouts. I am looking out for the feudal aggression. But like, okay, here my walls are just going down. I first put this terrible wall here, I don't know if you can see on the left, and I immediately see that that's a terrible idea. Just walk to the map, and I fix that. But a second delay there. I think I'm really low on the wood. But I'm trying to get the walls down, but this could have been accomplished with so much less. And a little bit earlier as well. And here come the scouts. I think I'm bringing...
I would say when you're doing this kind of strategy, you need to focus your EPM on scouting your opponent's opening. So the good news is that when he got into your base, you actually managed to stop his aggression. So that is good. The problem is what I didn't like about your opening here, because now I'm looking at your perspective, right? You needed to find your opponent's feudal building. So that was your mistake in scouting. You needed to find what your opponent was making. Because if he wasn't opening stable, then you would have actually been in trouble.
Did I not see the stable?
Yeah, can you see a fog of war right now?
Yeah, no, you're right. I did not find the stable actually. Wow, okay.
Oh, yeah, okay. So the villagers come in, the scouts come in to hit the villager.
Yeah,
So
this is where they get
villager.
through on the right, yeah.
Yeah, but I would say that even though you got a little bit of I don't equal
I did I was able to get just like a little bit of damage on the scouts. And then in the 4v4 scouts, okay, yeah, he goes for the uphill, but like I think I win this scout fight by focusing down
not this fight, but there's a fight later where I think you just took over, even though he had made more scouts and spears. But I'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So generally, when you go scout build, right? If you do the scout build correctly, you should be able to afford double beat X. Are you seeing the fight right now?
Yes, I'm watching the fight right now.
So,
I don't know how I burned down that spearman so fast, but
okay, so in this fight, he took a very terrible engagement. His spear did not focus down the low health scout, and he did not focus any of the scouts down. So as a result, right, even though you're only on 4 scouts and he was on like what 5 scouts and a few spears, you can see that he lost the fight very terribly just because he did not engage. Now this is going to be very important because when you do scout wars like this, you have to focus your EPM on the engagement. I think it was a slight mistake that you did not include a spear after you saw him making spears, but because he microed his army very terribly, you ended up getting the bad end of the deal. And him losing the scout war is a big deal. You can see right now he's forced to idle his eco. He made a very big mistake here, I would say. He made a bigger mistake than you by going on gold so early and building a second stable. Normally you have to commit to either clicking up to get castle edge or staying on feudal with double stable. So he kind of did both, and his eco wasn't set up properly. So in comparison, your opening was a little better. I think the only mistake that you really made in terms of eco was that you didn't get horse collar before you laid down additional farms. Because laying down the farms was correct. You spend your wood, a little late on gold, but it's okay. You were microing your scouts. I think that's okay. That's totally fine.
And I'm not exactly. Yeah, he's got a lot on gold. Maybe. Do I have this backwards? He's got 15 on food, 6 on gold. Yeah, I think if he had 2 on gold, he would get the 200 gold he needs, and then the rest could be on food or wood if he's going for Castle Age. What it felt like to me was eventually, okay, I mean he does start pushing back with scouts now, but it felt like.
So the problem with Endo's opening here, and I think Combat would have told him on his stream, is that Endo kind of was trying to go up to Castle Age by putting villagers on foot. He was trying to go up to Castle Age, but he had 2 stables producing scouts. So he basically floated way too much gold and overmade scouts so that he cannot click up to Castle Age where he would have actually made use of the lights. So that is a macro mistake by Endo, actually. So even though you have less army right here, and you do lose to these scouts, you basically sustain less economic damage because you were going to click up to castle very soon.
Yeah,
and he was still in feudal.
Yeah. Yeah, he's getting bloodlines for and at this point, like I've fixed my earlier mistake. I think I'm well. Okay, I've opened up on the left side, but like, yeah, house walls are going down. I don't think he can get too much damage in, and so this is investment on scouts that's not. I don't think is going to pay off for him. I'm just trying to get up to Castle Age at this point.
if he micros a little better, he can actually start killing scouts on the farms around your base, or he can try and break into your wall areas, cause they are palisade wall area. Yeah, he can actually try and pick off and try and basically idle you, and that is probably the most important thing. I feel like the biggest reason why Endo was pretty hard in this game was at this point, right, he kind of over invested in Feudal and he didn't get much damage done. Even though he has more views, he is not close to picking up. If I was Endo, I'll actually put down a market and buy my way up, because I already see you on gold and you're probably going to pick up the passage before he does. So he needs to buy his way up, because knights cannot deal with scouts unless there's a lot of scouts. Like, I'm talking like 12 scouts to like 2 knights, by
Yeah.
the way. So a little, basically there's just more mistakes on Endo's part. The other big mistake by Endo is he didn't wall. So because he didn't wall, later on.
I mean, he's small walled. He's small walled, but I think I know what you're talking about. Later on, there's some major parts of his eco that are open. This mill area that he has with all the farms around it, I don't think that gets walled off, and that was like a gateway into eco damage, but that comes in a little bit later. I think he's still trying to do something with the scouts, but now I'm up to Castle Age. And do I have 2 stables up yet? Not.
Yes,
I do? Yep, yes. I'm blind. Okay, sorry. So yeah, 2 stables. I think my next priority, I am gonna full wall. I'm gonna work on that. I think my next priority is getting the right amount on gold.
Let's talk about eco balance then. So I would say that you have way too little on gold when you're going to stable knights. You should have actually put so every stable you have is 6 farms and 6 on gold. You get the gold mining upgrade, then you have 6 on food and 5 on gold. But regardless, you have way too little on gold, so you could not keep making knights. So that was a big mistake. You should have put more villagers on gold before clicking up. I mean, as you clicked up. So let's say you had 6 villagers on gold earlier. You had 2 stables. You really wanted 12.
Right. I mean, that's where all the TC... okay, I'm moving them from something, or am I just adding them on? In any case, I've got...
you're adding them on.
You
can even second mining camp the gold if need be. Because that way it doesn't... Because the villagers are going to bump into each other a lot. So you might even just want to go for a second mining camp.
So with the eco balance, with the number of villagers that I had, now it's evening up and I'm happy with it. Would you have pulled off from wood, I'm guessing? Because I am floating a bit of wood.
I would say start laying down farms and add your second TC at this point. Because you're Berbers, knights are cheaper. That's why you can get away with the gold count you have and your food count. But you needed to lay down farms. You needed to add second TC and prepare for the long game. It's good that you actually managed to maintain your pressure like this. And like I said, him not wall up means that you see once these knights break into the gold, break into the wood line, and the farms on the south of his TC, those are all exposed. Once you break into all that and do damage, he can't do a thing. So even if you waste army, you still cause idle eco time, and he's later up.
Yeah. So here I want to point out that Ando and like when I see the Cav Archers come out, my thinking was yes, like getting and having engaging with them this early tells me 2 things. I may need to turn the volume down on this down a bit. Settings, yeah, give me 2 seconds. I think I just paused it trying to change the settings. The combat sounds are incredibly high.
It's under sound?
Yeah.
They just lower like crazy. Yeah, I know what you mean, because Capture Age has like pretty damn loud sounds. I have no idea why it's so loud, but
okay. Returning to map.
Adjust it.
So I'm paused. I've adjusted it. I'm paused at 2703.
Okay. Yeah, just keep going. I will resume in about 10 seconds. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I'm at 27:010 now, or 10. Yeah, so that Cav Archer switch, I think really hurt him. It's gonna take him a while to get a mass of Cav Archers that can do something, and
okay.
I mean, tell me I'm wrong, and that tells me that he's trying to make the Cav Archer switch, And I think around this time, I'm putting down ranges to make Genitours, to nip that in the bud, so to speak. But like,
Okay.
I mean, he's
Alright,
doing fine with his knights. Yes, I have camels, but like, he's got more knights. I've done some damage, but he like,
I would say that in this situation, I think shifting to Genitours is a little bit too much, I would say. And the reason why is because Genitours, you need to invest fledgling. Basically, you need to invest in a whole bunch of upgrades when you already have all your upgrades on knights. So it's a bit expensive to transition into. The only reason why you can get away with it here, like I said, is because he made a very huge macro mistake. You can notice he has 3 ranges down for the CA, and he was behind to Castle Edge by about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That is way too long. You cannot go Cav Archers when you're that behind in Castle Edge time. So what you do in a situation like this is you stay on 2 stable knights, but you also start making spears. Okay. You as a Berber player counter by making camels.
Yeah.
For the knights and knights for the spears. If he gets pikemen, that's when you pull back and you make Genitours. But then with knights and Genitours, you can counter the mess a bit better, and you also don't need to invest as much, because infantry are slower than cavalry. So
he clears me out there, but like my I think my production is at this point I think my eco is starting to play a role.
Yeah, you had way too many veils already, and like I said, his eco was hit the entire time. He's also adding the third TC here, which is a little bit greedy. You really don't want to do that. You really want to buff up your army numbers before you add more TC. I think adding the second TC was okay, because he was a little bit behind and he weren't being hit at the back. But adding the third TC just means that the 3 TC plus all the production buildings that he has means that he does not have enough production. So you can see that your army is just bigger than his. You just capitalize on your military advantage and just push forward. So if you okay, so let's say earlier, right, I was saying
here's there's this. I feel like this really needed to be walled. This eco being open right here, these farms gave me so many free villager kills.
Yeah, so that's what I call punishing an opponent who didn't wall well. So that's why you just see farms away from the TC, you just kill the villagers on the farms. The only time you can really get away with that is if you wall up. Like let's say right now where you're at your base, ignore the right side of your base, it wasn't walled. Right now where you are, because you are kind of walled, you can actually get away with farms around the mill and all that stuff. But with how open Endo is playing, he will lose villagers if you send knights there.
Yeah.
So like I said, right, if you see pikes and knights, that's when you can do knights and Genitours like what you're doing now.
Gotcha.
If you see him making knights and cavalry archers, the unit comp that you should go for is pure camel, not archers. So I say the reason why you don't want to go into Genitours is because Genitours are more expensive. They cost more food and wood than a skirm. You also need upgrades. So you're better off going full camel, like just adding a third stable and going full camel, than adding the 2 rangers and going Genitour. Because I said it's a huge eco investment, and it won't pay off until later. Much later. So if your opponent actually macroed correctly, like if your opponent actually macroed well, then his army comp will actually be stronger than yours, even though you have the right units for him.
Okay. I definitely get what you're saying. I felt really happy with my unit composition. I felt that it could counter anything that he was, this is what I wanted. I want knight camels and I felt really happy with it, but I get what you're saying, like economically, like I am kind of falling into, like, if I committed too heavily into Genitours, it would definitely backfire.
Yep.
But I'm like, I don't have all the upgrades I would need to make them effective. But I'm kind of already saying that, like, look, I've got an answer for you. These cav archers you want to get out right here. And yeah, there's the GG. Yeah. But I do get what you're talking about like straight up camels would have probably worked in this situation just as well, especially with the eco lead.
Yep. For the most part, I would say that this game was a lot less about you not making the right choices.
you having a better army comp. In more the fact that Endo just kind of messed up like what he wanted to do in feudal. Like I said, if he had a better idea of what to do in feudal, I think he would have actually, like when it's even in Castle Age, the Berbers and Huns, that's where your decision making on your army comp that will play more of an effective role. Because his feudal was so behind, that's why he lost his game.
Okay. Do you want to go into the next game?
Of course.
Okay.
I'm gonna load up the game as well.
Let me.
Don't let what I say put you down, by the way, Gwen.
Okay.
I feel that you did play very excellent in the show match. But when you go back and you look at the replays and you want to look at small things you need to improve,
Yeah, absolutely.
that's where your critical thinking cap is turned on. You can use your goal for other units and upgrades later. But in the short run, trash units almost always beat goal units. The problem is, goal units need a lot more micro to be effective, usually. So, and you're pressured to keep your goal units alive. So there are times when you actually, like, if you're not feeling like you can micro those goal units, especially in a short match, going trash is totally a viable option. So you just lay down like more production buildings and you overcome quality with quantity. So that will come into play a lot later, by the way. But yeah, the Ganators are an example of a trash unit because, like I said, you don't toss gold, but in terms of food and wood, they're very, very expensive. Like, you would need more villagers on food and wood for a Ganator compared to a Skirm. You also need more upgrades because now you already went Knights, so Bloodlines Husbandry is already researched, so that one is out of the way. But because it's a Skirm generally needs more upgrades than a crossbow. A crossbow needs like what? Bodkin arrow and maybe the first armor. But a Ganator or a Skirm would need both the archer attack and armor upgrades. And if you're going elite Skirm, you need the elite Skirm upgrade. So Ganator is something similar in that their cost is basically like an elite Skirm overall. So like let's say you make 10 elite Skirms versus you make like 7 or 8 Ganators, that cost is about the same. And the resources you invest to make them very effective, actually effective I would say, is about the same cost as well. Except that in the long run, Ganator is going to cost more since it's a more expensive unit.
I think Ganator in that situation, besides just would be so that I think it was like you skirms die to knights or like cavalry, but if you know the Ganator can not take the engagement if he switches back into knights, which is which I would have been fine with, but I didn't want to be in a situation where I lost skirmishers to a bunch of knights. And I also didn't want to be in a situation where he uses cavalry archers to just kind of skirmish away. I don't think he could have done that in that game just because his base was open and pressuring. But in a different scenario, he has more cavalry archers. He sends them to my wood lines, and every time I go chase them with knights or something, he just goes to the other wood line, and then that kind of bad scenario. But
the counters that you had for CA were actually quite expensive to get into because Han CA also cost cheaper. So like you would have to invest way more to stop his CA compared to him just making CA. So if you go to Ganators, I say it will be expensive. If you go to Skirm, it's slower and it's also not able to catch up with the CA. If you go to Camel Archers, you have to invest in making a castle.
Yeah.
You have to get up the castle.
Do you think it was
Camel Archers?
I think
in the long run, Camel Archers would have been the ideal, like a mass of Camel Archers.
Oh, absolutely. Do you think it was a mistake for him to go into Cavalry Archer?
Yes, I would say it's a very big mistake.
Okay.
You're up to Castle Age so late, you're not warped, and more importantly, you don't have the eco for Cavalry Archers.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see... I thought it was a mistake too. In the moment, I was like, yes, because his eco is going into Cavalry Archers, and they're not going to pay off until they have the mass, until they have the upgrades, and I'm trying to kill him in the next 5 minutes, and that's
Yeah, that was just a good a bad call by him, but no bearing on the big picture whatsoever. Because like I said, a show match is generally more stressful, I would say.
Of course.
Because one, you're being watched. Two, there are mistakes that you actually make when you're playing a show match versus when you're just playing a fun lobby game or like a 1v1 LAN game. It's a very different ball game.
Okay, so game 2, my thoughts going into it were like, okay, that went well. He chose Hideout for his home map. I have played a bit of Hideout. I like it better than Arena at this point in time, because I guess it doesn't matter why. Different conversation. But the civs that I think I was dwelling on, I think I did consider Teutons here, but I something maybe not pick those. Maybe I wanted to say them for row. I still don't feel like they're like a super meta civ. Certainly not as strong as say like the Franks or whatever. No, chef, it's not Teutons. Oh my god. Get out of here, T90. But I'd stolen Mayans, and again, my perspective on Mayans is that they're just incredibly strong, and again, sort of like I can do a lot in Castle Age and Imperial Age if I survive that long. And Hideout should be conducive towards surviving that long. Go into archers if they counter archers. Go into eagles if they counter eagles. Go into archer. That kind of unit composition. And the longer the game goes on, like I think the better eco I have. So my mindset in this, I think I'm going to be probably dying at every moment where I throw units or I don't micro well. But I was very much focused on having making use of my economy, and just kind of bouncing back and forth between eagles and archers in this situation.
So this game I would say is a lot more even than the previous game. There were a lot of things that you did very well, and there are a lot of things that were things that he didn't do very well. So I would say in that, what I mean by saying that is that there are decisions that you make that were just really good, and there were just decisions that he made that were really poor. So it contributed to the game in the long run. Okay,
let's go ahead and get it started, because that we're going to be doing early game stuff. I'm at 6 seconds in. Where are you at?
Yeah, I am paused at 6 seconds as well.
Okay.
I'm waiting for your count.
3, 2, 1, go. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So loom first. That's correct. That's probably the most important thing. When you can, go and try and practice Chinese.
Yeah.
You will find that even though they have one of the hardest Dark Age starts in the game, they also have one of the strongest seed bonuses in the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cheaper technology, very very good military line. They have access to fully upgraded Arbalist. They have access to fully upgraded Cavalier, light cav, fully upgraded infantry, and like I said, everything is cheaper for the Chinese. So they can do basically anything. And that kind of versatility, combined with that hidden eco bonus of being able to save resources and be able to get all your techs, that's huge.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Similar style, you have the Mayans. Start with an extra villager, but a little less wood, I believe. Oh wait, no, sorry. That's another. Yeah.
Chef says that they even have camels, which is something that I always think of. Yeah, I like the versatility. It's just I'm gonna have to practice their start at some point. For right now, the Malians are my discount Chinese, because again they're versatile. They have camels and etc.
But they also have one of the strongest castle units, the Geppetto. Very very strong unit, very fast. And if you play Nomad, right, there's actually a strat where you go fast castle Geppetto rush, And when you drop your castle on your opponent, you damage their eco, you get the gate battle out, and you kill Vales, and you just delay his opening. The only thing that can really counter that is mass archers, and even then it's quite difficult to get into a nomad. So it really depends on the lineup also.
I mean, the
But
thing
yeah.
is, I don't play Nomad except when I get forced into it by Benji.
Alright, so a little bit of idle time here with your sheep. I think at this point you just kill the sheep and let it decay under your TC for a bit, rather than let your villagers go idle. It's a slight mistake. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
I think.
I think you're very well familiar with the way idle eco works in this game. So I would say that letting your villagers idle is worse than letting your sheep decay. So just kill the sheep, whatever. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It's better than not producing from your TC.
I mean,
Because right now your
it gives,
Mayans-
yeah, and that delayed me. I think I had to do
No.
some manual drop. Yeah, manual. Where is it? Yep. See, there's the manual click off, and yeah, I think I regretted that. I definitely agree with you. It's something that I'm kind of a habit that I'm trying to cut back on. Is seeing the sheep decay hurts, especially when the villagers kill more than one when I don't want them to. And so the instinct is to try to avoid that. But yeah, not worth the idle time.
Yeah. I would say that a lot of times when I just kill multiple sheep under my TC, because I still do that by the way at my elo, just finish one sheep then move to the other. But if you're taking a ball, that's a whole different story. Always focus the ball and kill the ball as soon as finish the ball as soon as possible. Because ball decays faster than sheep. So
Yeah.
so let's say you somehow get very unlucky and you kill 3 sheep under your TC and you have a ball. Just finish the ball. Don't care
Yeah.
about the decay of the sheep. Because you're better off getting the food from the ball than the food from the already decaying sheep.
Yeah.
So you'll be behind, but when that kind of thing happens, just lay down a Dark Age farm. So that's how you deal with it. Because inefficiencies happen everywhere, even at the higher elo. People will accidentally kill their sheep. People will accidentally put their ball not perfectly under their TC. All this stuff kind of happens all the time. It's just that you see that less when you go higher up the elo. But when that happens, you need to know when to adapt to it. And by adapt to it, I mean just go and kill the sheep. Just go and finish whatever sheep need under.
So are you saying
the
like
ball.
if you're say like you lose some sheep to decay or something, you said build a Dark Age farm,
Yeah, if
and
you
go
lose
up like a
lot
build
of
later?
sheep- if you lose like a lot of sheep, so let's say like maybe you had a really super bad day and you kill like 3 sheep under your TC
Oh god.
instead of
Yeah.
just 1, and then just lay down a Dark Age farm later if you need to click up or something like that. Just send like 1 more villager to wood, and then after that just put down a Dark Age farm or 2 before you click up, and that will help it out. So I got lamed in a game recently. I was playing Chinese versus Mayans, and the Mayan player lamed me. So what I did was I pushed my deer, I laid down 5 Dark Age farms, and I clicked up at the same time as him, despite the fact that he lamed my ball.
Gotcha.
So yeah, adapt to your game and you'll play it better. Then how you win the game later is
So
to how
real quick, I want to criticize something again. So you were talking about the scouting, the production. Here he is, and I should know this. I've been on the receiving end of the Japanese militia or men at arms. Here he is. He has the barracks. Flags were up, and he has the militia coming out right now with the scout. Four militia are up. I don't have a military building in the game. Now, my mindset again was like economy. I'm going to essentially fast castle, but am I in feudal yet? No, I'm not even to feudal age yet. I haven't scouted. Like, I don't see this coming, and I really should have. I feel like I almost threw. I mean, no spoilers, whatever. But like, this was really bad. And of course, I'm harvesting 2 sheep now.
Do you know the timing for fast castle versus normal feudal opening? Like the timing on the clock.
Sort of. I know that I'm going to
So-
be going up late. I do know that I'm going to be going up later. But like, I understand my strategy here, but I should have seen early aggression coming from Japanese with how strong their men-at-arms are. I'm really happy with this defense.
the
It
reaction
bought
is
me
good.
some
Your
time.
reaction is good.
I'm happy with
reaction
my
is good.
reaction, but not my anticipation or foresight. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Alright. So let me explain something in the game called timings. So regardless of what map you play, what civ you play, there's a very important thing in the game called timings. I'll just let this slide, the villagers slide in, like the man-at-arms sliding in, because actually I think you do a good job of the small wall. And honestly speaking, I feel like Endo needed to follow up his man-at-arms with towers, because if man-at-arms and villagers show up at your doorstep like this, I think you are actually dead, because firstly you went up to FC, you're gonna FC, so you don't have the counter tower measure for him. Secondly, you didn't pre-wall your base after you saw that he clicked up early. So a fast feudal time is 9 minutes. Okay, just lock that off in your memory. A fast feudal time is usually 9 minutes. So that's the timing when you normally see scouts. That's the timing when you normally see
by the way,
archers.
I do like here's what I just want to say I really like my blacksmith placement. Walling into the TC saved me so much. Like at this point in time, I went from like I'm dead to okay, I have a chance at this, because as soon as that archer comes out, like
your reaction to this when you were trying to FC is actually perfect. In fact, right, if you send your villagers to go earlier, you could have clicked up here. Actually, I would say that if you send your villagers to go earlier, you actually would have clicked up, and then you get crossbow, and then he has nothing. That would have actually that might actually cause an instant resign. But because you send your villagers to go a little later, you couldn't afford to go up. Actually, you could go up. You had 650 foot. So if you laid down an archery range and a market instead, and then lay down the blacksmith later, then you buy your way to your upgrades, you would have had 16-minute crossbow in his base, and that would have killed him. So, but this reaction is also okay, because he opened 4 man-at-arms and he did not do anything with his opening. And like I said, he's late because he didn't have man-at-arms with towers for this build. You can see that he's really suffering in eco compared to you.
Right.
Because, he went up earlier, but he doesn't have the same eco because he went up with lesser builds than you.
Right.
You had all the Dark Age builds working for a long time, and he also he doesn't have any eco upgrades as well.
I felt after those men-at-arms died without I don't think they got any villains, I was feeling very happy, and I could breathe all of a sudden, because again my approach is like, okay, I have the better eco. I mean, maybe it'd be different if this is a water map, but I have the better eco, and now he's invested in men-at-arms, like not just 3 but 4 men-at-arms, and not gotten any payoff.
So the other important thing that you can say here is he sent archers forward. Your eagle's still alive. Your eagle could have actually killed all 3 of these archers right now, because these are archers without flashing. So your eagle would murder all these archers. You didn't even need to send your archers. Maybe you just send one, but your one eagle can kill all these archers without flashing. So slight mistake of okay, I mean it's slight because you probably didn't know, but yeah.
I probably didn't check to see if they had fletching, and I wanted to capitalize on that. But yeah, it could have been about like my archers could have been headed towards his base and let my eagle. But yeah, no, I did not. I probably would not have bet my $5 to say that, like, oh yeah, the eagle could just take out the 3 archers by itself. But that probably comes from just not being familiar with Mesocivs as much as I could be.
Totally. So now you have good farm count. You also have more equal upgrades than him. Well, he got horse collar, but he doesn't have the farm number to really compensate for it. So actually, I would say, especially because he invested in the man-at-arms opening and he didn't do any damage, that is a big deal. He also did not lay down the market, so he's going to be laid up. Now he laid down the market. He's going to click up, but he's going to have less villagers than you, and that is a huge win for you.
Let's see. Villagers, I have 65 and he has 64. Am I reading that right?
No. The villager count is in that hammer. You see next to the hammer, below the 2 swords on the top middle, there's a hammer.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay, I see. So yeah, 36 or 38.
Yeah, the hammer is the vill count, and the 2 swords is the military count.
Are you sure I don't have 65 villagers in feudal age?
No. So that number is basically, so the top left number is your 44. That's your current population. The bottom left number is your.
I don't even know why I thought that for even half a second.
Having 65 villagers in feudal kind of an apocalypse or a meme game.
That's not the meta?
I went actually no, not I, but there's a couple of Singaporean AoE players that loves to go feudal all-in scouts. So seeing 65 vills, 5 stables producing fully upgraded light cav, fully upgraded scout cav, that's a thing. Singaporean
I'm mad that I didn't get that villager. So he has these 2 men-at-arms. Do you think he should have those men-at-arms?
Yeah, I think he should not have made those 2 men-at-arms. But now he has Skirm, so you're probably in a little bit of trouble. So you saw 2 range? Wait, you only saw 1 range, sorry. One range?
Let me check the visibility. No, I've seen the range and the forward military.
Yeah. So I would say that just sticking to crossbow.
I tried to micro this a little bit, and it was
don't bother.
I was like, not worth it, and I think I just gave up on those archers. It was like, that's fine. See, this is what Mayan discounted archers. I just gave up on those. I'm gonna make more archers at home. It's fine.
Yeah. So I would say that since he had way more skirms than you had archers, you shouldn't have taken the fight. You should just ran, for his just try and look around his base and see what he's making. Because you're both up to castle, you don't know what he's making, and he doesn't know what you're making, obviously. The left siege workshop is a bit cheeky, so I don't blame you for not spotting that.
Yeah. No, I wish I had pulled that Eagle Scout back and done more scouting. I do have this archer, though, and I try to scout that around. I think I do some decent scouting with that.
In this matchup, okay, so this is a very weird game, I would say, in Castle Age.
I do see that he's still making men-at-arms, and so that at least tells me that I should still be making crossbows. But anticipating, so like I saw the skirm switch, and you see I'm building, or I'm pulling together. I've got 6 eagle warriors in my base, and that I have the armor upgrade, elite, or sorry, not elite, but eagle warrior is coming in. I've got the melee attack upgrade and the second melee armor upgrade. So I mean, I don't think I'm a genius here. I think Mayans just have it really solid. But like, that's his response. He's got a mix in skirms, and I've got an answer for that. Why are they going this way? Am I really going to send them this way?
Let me walk you through some of the things that were really amazing in this game, but I don't think you actually realize how amazing they were. So
okay.
Something very important to you. Your opponent is making men-at-arms when he clicked up to Castle Age, so that should ring an alarm bell in your head. You should know that he's going to do something that we like to call longsword siege. Slavs do it, Japanese do it, Vikings do it. It's a very, very strong
oh my god, yeah, 3.
If your opponent is a Meso Civ. If your opponent is a Meso Civ, longswords counter eagles and siege counters everything else. So that is a very, very... I don't know how he thought this up. Maybe because like Endo loves playing Japanese, because I've seen him do this quite a bit, but not with longswords all the time. He sometimes does it with knights and rams.
So I'm doing something in the south end with my siege workshop and sending my eagles around. I kind of regret that decision given what's at my gate right now, but I still have better. These eagles are all gonna die.
Did you know that this is actually the best decision you made in the game?
Really?
By sending the eagles to his base, right? Look, his army is all slow, rams and longswords. He has nothing to stop eagle warriors with the second armor, cause these are basically knights but infantry.
Yeah.
And you're gonna go in and you're gonna kill a lot of vills. So watch very closely.
Okay.
He's attacking your base, right? Okay, so like I said, you should have caught out the crossbow a bit earlier because you saw the arms, so you know that he was going long swords. You should have got the crossbow out.
This is like I'm panic putting down. I think 2 ranges in the back.
Here's his mistake. Here's his mistake. He walked his long swords into the TC, so he lost half his long swords to the TC.
Yeah.
He did not protect his rams, so now he just lost his rams to the eagles. And
I'm in his base, killing vills.
You're in his base, you're killing vills. And you have 2 armor, and these are eagle warriors. So the TC is not gonna kill them. and you're gonna kill Eagles. You're gonna cause idle eco time. And this is what I like to say is the best part of the game. When your Eagles killed his Rams, he has no forward push, and now he has nothing to defend his own.
Yeah. I was. You're right. I do not take back the decision to send the Eagles around to his base. That I might have had a better idea. Like, I'm not watching my production. I may have already known that, like, okay, I've already got, like, you know, a second batch of Eagles, and those in fact did deal with the Rams and at least softened up the longswords a little bit. But yeah. The eco damage here is going to be insane, even if he kills those Eagles off eventually with the longswords.
So this is why, so normally, right, in Japanese versus Mezzo, like if you're playing Mezzo versus Japanese, you don't make Eagle Warriors, because if your opponent invests into longswords, right, he just kills all the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the way you use them, because you use them as a red unit here, you manage to sneak the Eagles around to hit his eco. This was actually a very, very good strategy here. So you turn something that is normally considered very bad into something really good just because of the way you played it. So that's why I was saying that I can't believe that Gwen did this in the cast. I can't believe that you actually made this work. Because like I said, normally this doesn't work, but because of the way it was done, you got away with it really well.
Gotcha.
But like I said, yeah, the not producing crossbows when you saw the man at arms in Castle Age was probably the only real mistake that you make. Because if you got a few crossbows out earlier, if he was protecting the Rams, the crossbows can focus on the long swords, or the Eagles go for the Rams. In fact, you could even use villagers to batter down the Rams.
I still am struggling with the archer. Oh, okay, no, here come the archers. I think I've learned my lesson a little bit, and kind of it's clicked in that, like, okay, yeah, no, I really can't effectively take fights with the Eagle Warriors against the longswords. So I pulled them back over here, and here come the archers starting to get those in. But I'm still. I've got this one villager on the other side. I built a forward barracks over here. And I think I have plans to keep pressure over here. I think I'm struggling to have, I don't have the wood to really lay down a whole bunch of military buildings, but already, like, I'm producing an Eagle Warrior out of this forward barracks on the right side, and producing archers in my base to defend against his longswords, which are coming right now, and he's pulling them back.
So I felt like he made okay. So if I was in Endo's position, I would actually have doubled down on aggression now, because I already lost so many bills, and I know that my opponent is up maybe 1 TC, 2 TC. The point is, I know that my opponent is ahead now, so Endo could have doubled down in Castle Age. He would have done better. So what?
But he's just now getting the second armor upgrade. I don't think he could have taken that fight very effectively.
Yeah. So what I mean is that Endo's doing a bad transition, I would say. So you can see that he's producing a lot of ranges right now, because he wants to make skirms.
Skirms, yeah.
Counter this. Yeah. That's a bad call, because you already see that your opponent's making eagles. So what you do in this situation is you make a scorpion longsword.
Gotcha.
The reason why is because he's in a losing position. He just lost his forward siege, and he lost his push, and his eco is behind because he lost so many builds. Even if you didn't go eco behind, at least if you go aggression in your position, Gwen, if you go aggression, you win the game afterwards. So I wouldn't have added eco here in Endo's position. I would have doubled down on aggression.
Double down on it, yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Two more siege shots after the first one got killed. And I would go longsword and scorpion. So scorpion kills the crossbows. Longswords can protect the siege, and more importantly, longswords with full upgrades in Castle Age would kill the TC, especially if it's Japanese longsword.
Yeah.
But here, you deny a castle, you kill Bill. So again, the eco advantage is just growing and growing, and
82 to 63.
Bonus. Yep.
I've got 4 TC, about to have be on 4 TCs, which I don't do a lot of the time. I actually have a kind of a bad habit of lingering on 1 TC and then realizing that the game is going into late Imp and I'm still playing early Castle Age aggression. But here again, like my mindset was like, okay, I'm gonna eco I'm gonna eco this. And yeah.
So I would say that at this point, right, I think you have way too much on gold. You can transfer the villagers off gold a little earlier, or you just keep making more eagles, and then you just transfer your villagers to food and wood, and focus on picking up from there. Because now you have a lot of villagers on gold, because your rally point is on the gold, you can send those villagers to wood, you can send those villagers to gold farm.
I think I just did some. I just watched my gold count. Okay, I think I have a TC pointed to gold, but I took something off of gold because I saw it was at 17 and went down to 14 for a second there. But so you're saying less on gold?
You have way more. You have way too much on gold right now. I would
Yeah.
say, because you have more than enough to pick up, and you still have like 15 on gold. You really don't need that much on gold right now. You really want to pick up. So either you buy your way up, or
I think that's what I do. I think I saw the eco disparity and was like, oh damn, yeah, no, I need to do that.
Yeah, I mean it's heat of the game, right? You just warded off like man at arms, and then you warded off the ram push. So that was actually a very good call. So right now so like I said, right, his comp is completely defensive at this point. He's making long swords and skirms. Those are very slow units, and they can't kill your buildings. Well, maybe the long swords can, but they need protection, which they don't have. Yeah, you can get from rams or scorpions. So honestly, right now you just boom up and you just flood him with your late game composition. Now here's one important resource which I'm not sure if you know about. It's called map control. So right now you have 3/4 of the map. Okay, maybe 2/3 of the map, because now he's taking the left side, the goal on the left side of the castle. So right now you have 2/3 of the map to yourself. So what that means is you can take resources, neutral resources. You have an entire mini military encampment to the right of his base, which he doesn't know about just yet.
Yeah.
That's huge. So once Imperial Age hits and you get all your upgrades, right army hits, left army hits, and he's dead.
That was the plan. Like, I felt that like I have to have a better eco. I'm gonna have, you know. Why haven't I clicked up to Imperial? Good God, am I putting down buildings or something? What am I doing? I have a university.
Probably heat of the game moment.
Yeah, I think I'm slamming down. I've doubled my farm count in like the past, few minutes. But yeah, no, I could have clicked. Okay, here it is. Finally. Okay, and we click up to imp at the same time. That really I could have hit imp before him, but I was not minding my resources very effectively. Yeah.
I would say that overall though, I would say that the game is kind of over at this point, just because of the way he's kind of letting, like, honestly, like I said, Endo kind of didn't react the right way to what was going on. I think he should not have played defensive, or rather he played too defensive when he really should have tried to go aggressive and try to take a risk, because it's better than slow dying like this. Because right now he's kind of slow dying, which kind of sucks.
He was behind a little bit after he lost his push and got raided, and there's no way he's gonna outboom me at that point or after that. So yeah, he needed to balance that out by doing some kind of damage, and instead he's trying to boom up behind castles. Do I have that right? Oh, of course. Okay. I'm letting all of my crossbows die to skirmishers over here. Again,
because on the left side, your army is attacking. The problem is your eagles are fighting the long swords.
Yeah.
And your siege is not helping you with the long swords. So
yeah.
I feel like you should have brought your eagles to the siege.
Like I said, I'm gonna kick myself in the shin for like my micro was terrible in this game. I was focused on just like I'm going to, yeah. Anything I lose, I'm gonna double the number.
You have a lot of map control, so like I think you just were overwhelmed with the fact that you had so much of the map available.
Yeah.
To you, like the options were open, so then you just like struggled. So let me talk about something called tunnel vision. So you notice that you built your castle on the left side of his base. So what I would have done was I would send some villagers from home to the right side of Endo's base. Put a castle on that hill.
I wanted to, and I'm mad that I didn't. I think I do too, like right when the game is ending or something like that. But yeah, no, I wanted a castle on that hill, but I didn't send the villagers over there to make it happen.
Yeah, so if you sent it earlier, it would have been better. Like right as you clicked up to Imperial, you just send the villagers there, build a castle on the right,
Oh,
build
yeah.
a castle on the left. You trebuchet the left and the right side of his base. Because you focus all your efforts on the left side. If you are attacking both the left and the right side, I think you would have done it. I mean, it will be a troublesome thing to control, but all you can do is just
Oh.
smash the eagle, make eagle button and a couple of traps on the right side while you focus all your army on the left side. And
I think I'm even really I'm building this castle with 2 villagers, which is not ideal. I think I really, what was I do?
I think you
What?
should have sent more villagers.
Yeah. No, you think? I don't know why I haven't sent it to build the first castle. I think I do for the second one, but yeah, my focus is clear. Okay, yeah. Here's the foundation on that hill on the right, and I've got Arb in. I do have some scorpions out. Again, I'm not managing my units very effectively. I'm trying to lock this down economically, I guess. But yeah, castle on the right hand side, castle on the left. Only now as the 9 villagers coming forward to build that castle, and I'm not even holding that hill at this point. Bad timing on my part.
If you force the main army to move to the left first, yeah, I think it would have been a better choice. Because now you don't really have any army on the right side, so alerting him to know that you're on the right side, yeah, you kind of lost your units here, which is a little bit unfortunate, like I said. Also, if you hit on the left and the right, I think you could have ended the game a lot faster.
Absolutely,
You kind of alerted him to your presence on the right, so he just kind of took out your production buildings, and then he moved on to fight the real battle at the left side.
Yeah, I saw that he had this castle here, and he was on this gold, and I was like, I realized, I have all this stone, so I just built another castle closer to that. I think I built a third directly on that stone, or gold rather. Am I producing trebs? Yes. Okay, I have 2 trebs out. Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, right, I would have maybe I would have stopped making ups. At this point.
Really?
Like I get a nice mess of 30-ish, and then I stop because I need all that gold for traps.
I don't have 30 arbs though. I have I have 28, but they're not really positioned right. I'm running them under the castle. I quickly regret trying to do damage to the trebuchet. I don't know why I think I was worried about losing this castle, and I just lost a bunch of arbs, but.
Well, you didn't need to castle the right side. You could have actually left some of the villagers to repair the castle instead of building a new castle.
Yeah, so, but this castle is the placement that I want. The middle one isn't really doing anything. But yeah, I think I was worried about my ARB numbers. Like if he pushes with all these, like he's got a decent military size. If he pushed with all of those, I was worried I did not have enough ARBs to stop them.
Yeah, you really needed to send your eagles to the back and kill the skirms. That's what you wanted. But you let your eagles fight the two-handed head-on. The only reason why you won the engagement is because your eagles have more upgrades than his two-handed. Because he doesn't have the third armor, he doesn't have the second or the third attack, so there's a huge disparity, and you also have all the arbalist teams two-handed, so yeah. But what you could have done was send the eagles to the skirms instead, so the eagles kill the skirms and your arcs will kill everything else.
Of course.
But yeah, great job with the early castle age raid. That was probably a very huge turning point in this game. You went from being the defender to being the aggressor, and you really kind of locked Endo down in his base. If he actually was able to expand properly, that would have been a problem. Because like I said, late game Japanese, actually late game any save will do better than Mezzo. Almost every non-Mezzo save can kill Mezzo in the late game, especially if they have a raiding like Cav. The only exception is probably Incas, because Incas actually have some of the better trash against some of the non-Mezzo saves. But otherwise, yeah, I would say that this game was kind of nipped in the bud after you send your eagles to raid.
Yeah.
So remember that when your opponent is attacking your base, there's a very good chance he won't have anything in his base to defend his eagle. So sending your eagles the way you did was actually the best choice, especially on hideout. Because on hideout, right, your opponent, if he defends properly or he walls up properly, he won't be expecting a raid. So when you came in with the raid and killed 11 vills, that was a huge turning point. And you forced him to You force him to retreat. You force him to play defensive. You force him to tag into a slower, more defensive comp, and that actually allowed you to kind of like boom up and hit him
Yeah.
hard with Imperial Age.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that this game was also kind of really unfortunate for Endo because, like I said, if he doubled down on aggression, he maybe could have been able to kill a TC or two. Maybe he would have been able to keep himself in the game a little bit longer, just making it for a messy full castle age war. But choosing to stay behind and boom, you're gonna lose to Mezzo in early imp, especially since like Mezzo has a huge foot up in this game. Same situation goes for you. If your Mezzo opponent is very ahead, just full push your Mezzo opponent because you cannot afford to let it go to early imp where they have up, they'll have trap, they'll have Elite Eagle or maybe some other crazy early imp comp that they can get to, especially if they're ahead. So basically, you just want to always be ahead of the Mezzo opponent so that he never gets a leg up in castle imp. It's easier said than done, but
Yeah, just the Mayans aren't really that strong. You just have to beat them at every second during the game and be ahead at any point in time, because if you don't do that, then they're going to win.
yeah, that's also kind of how I lost a Golden Pit game where I took the center as well, which is a bit unfortunate because normally when you take the center in Golden Pit or Golden Rush, you win the game. But because I macroed very badly, the Mayan opponent trapped everything in my middle area down, and yeah, he won the game afterward, and I was very upset because I
Right.
took the middle, I secured the middle, but he had better unit comp than me. And I wasn't able to really fight him back, so I ended up losing that game. Even though I spent 4,000 gold in that game, in Imperial Age, and I still lost. It was quite devastating. But it also shows to you that if you let a Mezzo go to early imp without anything stopping him, you're gonna lose. It's really unfortunate.
I am very excited about the next one. I'm going to take a quick break.
Yes.
Oh, man. I'm going to pause it. I'm on 3 seconds in. Let me close that. Yeah, so a quick break. I will be right back, and then we can continue with the next one.
Sure, I'll take a break myself.
Alrighty, I am back. It's a short break. Well, Chef, I mean that's just your opinion, man. So yeah.
Alright, I'm ready for this one. This is
Okay.
my favorite.
This is one of
This
your
is actually one of
favorite.
my favorite games in the series. This is actually such an insane game.
Yeah, I agree. Chef. So, open mindset. So, going into this game, I look at I'm looking at the civs on the map. Runestones, another one of his home maps. Very, fill the car up. No, we already filled the car up with gas. I can't go anywhere in my my old truck. Chef, I'm gonna have to show you what my old truck looks like. You're gonna love it. So, Runestones basically made me think Franks, because of the scouts, the strong scout rush, and the mobility. The other alternatives would have been maybe Sicilians, but if you're gonna do Sicilians for scouts, and you have Franks, why not just do Franks? Franks are, very meta civ, very strong civ. I died to them a lot, and I have been really struggling. I've lost so much elo on like the week prior to this show match, against Franks in particular, and I don't even know why. They're not a super complicated civ to understand, I feel like. But anyway, so so I have my mindset made, like Runestones. He's down he's down 0-2, and this was really the nail in the coffin. Like, if I was in that position, I would want a let's time to pull out some of the stops. I would want to pick one of my best civs to get back into the game, so to speak. And looking at his lineup, that has to be Franks. Okay, so it's totally Franks. My response to that, I think my going back, my response, I would have loved Berbers, because camels, to take that fight, but I've already used Berbers, and the sort of approach, which is to basically chat window is covering up civs. Why is chat window covering? Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm on the. There we go. Thank you for letting me know, Chef. Got that fixed. So my alternatives are basically, I think, Teutons, but
You didn't want to play Teutons or Runestones, which is understandable.
Yeah. Basically, not Bohemians, not Vikings. I what's gonna do?
Fun fact. Vikings will actually be a totally good lineup here also. Bohemians could do decent. They won't do great, but they will do decent. Now,
with how I played, I think I could have put in Bohemians in here, but I wanted the option of being mobile on an open map, which is not something that Bohemians are going to do. So part of this would have worked with Bohemians with their spears, but the Lithuanians do have a spear bonus. They have the faster moving skirms and spears, and I can always go into scouts or knights or something like that. So Lithuanians were my pick. This is really the first time, and this really should never be like, you should never try out a new strategy in a show match, but I have to admit that's what I did here. You've not done me from like 3 weeks ago would have approached this as, he's going to go scouts, I'm going to go scouts, and then I'm going to try to get the relics so that my knights are better than his knights. And what would probably happen would, I would get the worst of the scout fight. He would get into eco damage. I would be behind. And then I would just get completely outnumbered by knights before I've even, massed my own knights. Like I would have out 2 knights and he would have out 4. I would have out 4, he would have out 6, and if I somehow managed to survive and make some kind of pike transition, then look, he's already got 3 castles out and is producing throwing axemen. That's how I would approach that. And Chef here actually said something which did stick with me, which was like basically the only way you're going to do this is to go straight into pike defense, which doesn't make sense a lot of the time because you can't really do damage with pikes and everything. But I'm thinking like I know the opening for Franks. Like I can bet my money that's how he's going to that's how he's going to open. I also haven't really done a lot of monk defense. I think I experimented a little bit with it on the ladder before this matchup. So going straight into a spear to pike and monk defense against Franks was a new idea here. So yeah.
You probably also never played like Pike Siege before.
I've played Pike Siege, I've played Pike Siege, but not as an opening.
Oh, not as an open. Yeah.
Let's say I'm playing Bohemians. I like Bohemians to go, men at arms, archers, pike and siege. I like Celts, men at arms into pike and siege. Or men at arms, archers, pike and siege. I like that kind of 3-stage play, and it's great when it works. But another like. It's a lot of moving parts that have to line up, and if something goes wrong, then it backfires. And there's really no need to get that complicated. When it's Franks, they're gonna go scouts into knights.
So okay, let's start the game and get it rolling while we talk about the.
Of course. So I'm at 3 seconds, and I'm gonna play in 3, 2, 1, go.
So continuing from where you left off, Pike Siege is an opening. As an opening strategy in Castle, is what I like to call a defensive into offensive strategy, where you're behind your opponent, but you turn from being behind to being aggressive. So what happens when you go Pike Siege is you make about like 20 pikes, you add siege. Once you reach 20 pikes with 4 upgrades, or preferably at least 2 of the upgrades, and then after that, like the 2 armor upgrades and 1 attack upgrade, then you push forward. Because like going 20 pikemen, you don't really need a lot of eco. So while you're making the 20 pikemen, you add a siege workshop and you add rams, scorps, or mangonels depending on your opponent's army comp. So if your opponent's army comp is knights, you go pike ram. If your opponent's army comp is crossbows, you go pike mango or pike scorp. And if your opponent is somehow making crossbows and knights, then you have to do pike scorp or pike mango with a lot of micro. So yeah, Pike Siege as an opening in Castle is very weird, but if you get forced into that opening in Castle Age because your opponent is up earlier, it is totally doable, especially on Lithuanians, because Lithuanians don't need squires for the beginning part, since they already have faster moving spears. Lithuanians also can go monks, like I said, because monks can help you with converting.
Yeah, they do have some monk bonuses, or faster producing monastery, if I recall, right?
Yeah. That's a very, very important tech of Lithuanians. So one of the most important things in this matchup is map control. So whichever civ gets the map control will win this game.
Really? Okay, because yes. I spoilers a little bit. I think I give there was potting soil at the bottom of it. Oh my god.
Did you actually see that?
Chef says, "Is there potting soil at the bottom of that cup?" No. Oh my god.
Sassy.
Okay, so you said map control. I would say with Pike Siege opening, I'm giving up a lot of map control. This another crazy thing. We are not even 5 minutes in, and I'm pre-walling. And part of this is because like I know that I'm going to be defending, but also like I'm scared of Frank's scouts. Always seem to get in and find a way to do damage.
So walling is totally a viable option.
And on runestones too, but
I would say that your placement of your production buildings later does not work very well with doing this, I would say. Because if you look at the production building placement later, we'll go into that later because that's going to come up very soon. But the production building placement was the biggest problem why this wasn't working out very well. You also lost a Vil to a boar here because you missed one.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Yeah, I lost a Vil to a boar because I was like, again, like I'm not used to walling and doing something else this early, so I got distracted with that instead of the sort of the rhythm of the build order, and I lost a Vil in a show match against one of the scariest civs. In fact, how is I'm really surprised.
His opening is going okay actually. His opening is going fine. He added a little bit more on wood because but he is going up soon. But yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, wow. He's got 5 on wood.
Yours in this. Having an additional villager on wood is not too bad.
Look at this! Look at this asshole! Look, I was like, oh, I pissed him off when he's doing this.
Actually, I mean that is totally okay. You normally want to send your Vil to start harassing. If your opponent doesn't have room, you send your Vil. You send your scout to maybe pick off a Vil. This barracks being there is kind of one of the worst barracks positions. For this particular. So you really want that barracks to be forward. You don't want it to not be part of the wall. Cause that barracks costs a lot of wood. So if that's not part of the main wall, you kind of lame your wood position.
I remember that. I remember now that you say that. I remember being like, okay, I need to go to another wood line. Well, I have 2 tiles of wood line accessible on this one.
And the other thing that was quite awful was that you send your villagers to go, and you were going to open scouts, right? So I was like, is she going men at arms? But the barracks is very late for men at arms. That's I'm not going men at arms, but I'm used to sending my 21 and 22 Vils to gold as part of the men at arms build order. So that's just habit, I guess, because I don't know when else I should go to gold. I do want to be able to go up to Castle Age. I want to have okay, so
but
normally when you do men at arms, you send 20 and 21 and then you click up. But because
I've got a 22 map.
20. Well, technically you did 23 because you lost a Vil, right? Yeah. So when that happens, I would totally just try and clear out the sheep under my TC as soon as possible for the extra food I need. Because now your opponent knows that you're going men at arms. He pre-walled, and
I did go man at arms. Okay. I'm okay. So it wasn't a mistake. That's interesting. Okay, I didn't. I forgot that I forgot that I made the militia. Honestly.
So the other thing you notice, okay, you're watching the cast, so it's different. But you actually scouted the left of your base, and you knew that there's actually a nice spot to the left near the map. Near the edge of the map, you could have actually walked to that edge of the map so that you will secure potentially 3 wood lines and hold power over there.
Right, yeah. No, I agree. Smaller wall right there.
Because this isn't exactly a small wall. This is actually
This is a very long wall, yeah.
Yeah, so actually like walling to the side would have been good. I mean, you have to find your opponent's base, you have to find your opponent's opening. And again, you notice that your scout is still alive. He hasn't found the Feudal Age building yet. So hideout, it's okay if you don't see the Feudal Age building because it's hideout. harder to see, especially if your opponent does sneaky defensive base strat. But yeah, because you didn't scout your opponent's feudal opening, your mana arms are gonna be late. Your mana arms actually should have hit the base like 2 minutes ago.
I think I went from thinking like, okay, I'm playing defensively, I'm going to use these to defend from his feudal aggression, and then I changed my mind and like, okay, I'm going to send them forward. Probably not a good idea, and I think I'm immediately going to regret that, because here comes Ando's feudal aggression, and I'm going to be worried about that.
There are two important things to note here when you're playing mana arms. One, you need to scout where your opponent's resources are. So the important thing you want to hit when you're playing mana arms is berries. If you knew that your opponent had back berries, you would not have actually went mana arms, or you would have stopped. Like, you would have not sent the villagers to go.
Oh my god! And I lose the men-at-arms to the TC. I'm losing tons of men-at-arm hit points. Interesting though, he pulls his scouts back.
Yeah. So that was honestly a very bad call by him. If I was in his position, I would actually fight the men-at-arms with my villagers instead of what.
Especially when there's only 2 weak ones.
Well, to be fair, you are full war, but I think he could have went scouts and archers, and he could have actually gotten into your base. But because he sends the army back, it's delayed.
Yeah.
Something very important point.
I invested into feudal here, and I get absolutely nothing out of it. Basically.
So something important to note when playing this is the chat actually said that actually, since your man-at-arms was so late, you could have added the 2 spears you made before you send your man-at-arms out to aid the army, so that your spears can kill any scouts that come to fight the man-at-arms. Man-at-arms will still be alive and will still be running around Ando's base.
I agree.
So that's important.
I think that was sort of my split mentality, was that like I was sending my men-at-arms forward, but I also wanted to defend at home. And so I kind of did. At this moment in time, I was doing neither effectively. I think I agree with you.
So your rest balance at this point is very bad. So take the villagers off gold. You have enough to take up. Send more veils to wood and get the upgrades. And yeah, the 2 villagers taking the wood line to the left. Is
How do I have 5 villagers on gold?
If you pre-warp to the left, you wouldn't be having this problem. Like, you could have actually just sent some of your spears out and finish the wall to the left. Because now you know that if you look at the fog of war right now, you know that the left side is actually, you can actually wall to the left side, and that would have been better.
Yeah.
And you would have actually gotten more out of your map than he did. Because his map was actually pretty solid. He had a back gold, he had a back stone, which he didn't wall yet. But if he does go to walling that, then he would have 2 important resources to protect, while he's being aggressive on your end.
Why does it say I have 6 on gold when I have 2? Are those like builders or something?
It's okay. So you send your villagers to gold, right? And then after that, you send your villagers to build something. So they will still be registered as gold miners, because that was the job they had when they were constructing. And then they will change job when they actually, change job. So sometimes you might actually have like 5 gold miners, like it displays on your in-game UI, but actually you only have 1 person mining gold, because the 4 gold miners are currently building a building. So they are still shown as gold miners, even though they are not actually on gold right now. But yeah, you really needed to take the villagers off gold a lot earlier. Like, stockpiling a bit of gold now is okay, but you really needed to pick up.
I'm kind of frustrating myself watching me continue to be on gold once I have the 200 gold, because I could make an argument to say that, like, I want to have the 200 gold or something, for Castle Age, and maybe even a little bit extra for like an upgrade or something. But I got gold. I've got 300 gold. This is unnecessary at this point.
So let me point out something very important.
Monks, maybe?
Okay, you have 7 spears right now. They are in your base doing nothing.
Yes.
So you overmeet spears when you saw the scouts. So when you see 4 scouts, you need like 3 spears or 2 spears. So you basically make 1.5 spear for every scout that your opponent needs.
Did he?
Right now you have 7.
Well, okay. So did he see my? Let me defend that real quick. At this point, I at least know that I want to open with pikes, and when the knights hit, I don't want to have 1.5 spears for every knight. I want to have like an actual force that stops. So I have like the one defensive spear. That's like my anti-scout spear. But I'm hoping that he doesn't, like, I don't want to show him that I'm already going into pikes with like and I don't want to show him that I'm already going into pikes. I want to catch him off guard and surprise him. I want him to go into knights, and I want to surprise him with, you know, a hard counter with sufficient numbers to actually make it work. So these spears, at least in my mind, those are future pikes to deal with the knight, not spears to deal with the scouts.
Okay, I agree with your decision. First thing, I agree with your decision. What I didn't like is that you make the spears before you click up. Every spear and skirm that you make as a counter to feudal aggression is 10 seconds away from clicking up to Castle Age because of the resources they use. Now, instead of having the 7 spears, you could have had 3, and you could have clicked up to Castle Age about half a minute or maybe even a full minute earlier, depending on how your eco was looking. So that to me is a slight mistake.
Okay.
The other mistake is because you had so many spears, you could have actually sent at least 1 spear out to check your opponent. How many stables does he have? Does he have 2 stable? Does he have 3? How is his eco looking? If he adds TC, can you see the TC? Like in Castle Age, like if you have a spear walking around the outside of the base, you see the very far left, your spear would have walked past, he would have seen that TC. You know your opponent's on 2 TC with 2 stables. You can be very sure that there's army, but there's also a bit of eco. So if you do like a full aggressive push, you can win him. So you click up, and you are getting your upgrades. You don't really need that much gold, that's why having 2 on gold is fine. But you really didn't want the 3rd barracks. You just want 20 pikes. Like I said, you didn't need the 3rd barracks. You just click up to 20 pikes, and then you add the siege workshop, and then you start adding the siege unit to push.
2 barracks inside. Yeah, I see. All right.
So instead of 3 barracks, you go 2 barracks and a siege shop.
He goes
which
to.
is totally fine.
Yeah. There. So I react with possibly a bit late with the monastery, but I have the pikes. Here's my pikes force. Very big moment for me. Very big moment. This is like the get the hell out of here. You know, you damn Frank bastard. I know he stole. It was my civ that he stole, but
So Franks actually have a very similar problem to the Mesoamerican civs, which is very weird because they are one of the original AoE 2 civs. They have very, very strong gold comp, but they actually have very bad late game trash. Now, they don't have fully upgraded skirms, which you're gonna need for late game Imperial. They only get light cav with only slightly a bit more HP. And they get fully upgraded health. But they have some of the strongest gold units in the game, with fully upgraded Paladin that's stronger than any other Paladin in the game. And they also have Throwing Axemen that they can make for very cheap, with the cheaper castles.
So this doesn't look like a good idea. This
going into skirt.
This
was a huge.
No way.
Honestly, he can't make.
Yeah.
You cannot make skirms in this matchup against Lithuanian pikes. So he really needed to go onto stone and start getting a castle up.
Yep.
And he needed a monastery. Like he already had.
Oh man, yeah, no, he doubles down on these ranges too. He makes them in the back.
Yeah, so making skirms to counter pikes is correct if you're in Imperial Age.
Yeah.
But if you're in Castle Age.
Oh my god, there's a hole there. Oh, that's not ideal. But I've been trying to produce, and here's another big moment. The monks are gonna come in, sort of. I've got them, told them to do a thing. And so I'm pressuring his base. Because, once he knows that I'm pikes, the surprise is gone. So I'm going to try to, be very active with it. And he runs out of the base, taking a couple casualties. I think I was happy with that engagement.
Yeah.
I even got a knight out of it.
I feel like Endo kind of reacted badly in this situation. He really needed to go on stone. He really didn't want to invest in Frank skirms because they don't pay off very well in the Imperial Age. He's better off going to Throwing Axemen. So he kind of forces himself to go into a double gold comp basically. So he basically needs to stop producing knights and go into Throwing Axemen. That's what he needed to do. But he never went on stone, and he didn't have an option.
I think he did at some point. I remember seeing Throwing Axemen in this game, but way too late to make a difference.
Yeah, by the time he had Throwing Axeman, right, you already had like Knights with 4 upgrades.
Yeah.
So that's a
which is like, and I know that I actually anticipated the Throwing Axeman. So let's see if I see. I have the I have the first armor upgrade for cavalry, and I have a stable in the back, and it's producing a knight right now. So I'm like, I'm thinking his response to this is Throwing Axeman, even though he's actually responding with Elite Skirm. But so I'm starting to incorporate knights. He does come around to pressure this other side. It gets market walled. I'm kind of proud of that market wall. But yeah, so no.
I think that market wall bought you a lot of time. So I would say that on this. Okay, so remember earlier on in the coaching, I was saying that whoever gets map control in this game wins.
Uh-huh.
Here's
Okay.
Do you see that now you have map control in the game?
I do.
He cannot raid you. So even though he's on 3 TC, like going on to his 3rd TC right now, he's actually losing. Because 1, you have a huge military advantage over him. 2, you have map control. And when Lithuanians have map control, what happens when you have map control? You can take relics. And when you take relics, Lithuanian knights are going to be stronger than Frank knights. So you can see the monk coming for the middle. No, it's about to be stopped. Very soon, because the knight's heading towards it. But yeah, even though he does such a good job, you know, in this game, he got 3 relics. You got 2.
Really?
So, yeah. So in this game, I would say he did very well. He tried to take map control. He tried to get the relics so that you won't get them. The problem is, at the end of the day, you got 2 relics into your monastery, and the 2 relics that you have is enough to overpower his knights and whatever army he makes. So that's why
I've got one going back.
This was such a,
okay. Yeah. I kill a monk, but not the one.
The post-game interview.
Oh boy!
Your
yeah.
Man here are about to kill 11 villagers.
This is Overchop.
And pikeman managed to kill 11 villagers here. Because, okay, remember what I said the last time? If your army is out of position, this raid is gonna kill everything. Because you still have a bit of defensive army in the back. But if you look at his skirms, they are running hell all the way back home.
Yeah.
He doesn't delete a wall to get in faster. He doesn't delete a wall to get in faster. He doesn't send his whole entire army.
And they're
back.
getting whittled down by knights.
He's gonna lose a lot of vills here because of that. Because you hit him with this raid and he wasn't prepared for it. And don't forget, these are Lithuanian pikes, so they do move faster. I don't know whether you got squires in this game, but if you did get squires in the game, your pikemen can actually outrun Frank cavalry, and that's actually very scary. When pikemen can outrun cavalry.
Lol, what?
Yes. Lithuanian pikemen, right?
I didn't know that.
Run up to Lithuanian pikemen and squires can run up to cavalry with husbandry. They actually have the same speed.
Oh my god.
If he didn't get husbandry, right, your pikemen and squires will actually outrun the cavalry and kill them.
That's funny.
So that's actually one of the most. That's actually why Lithuanians, right, I would say, like, they have a very, very solid matchup against cavalry civs. And against camels, they go knight camel. They go knight monk. So the knights will be stronger if they got the relic bonus. The monks will convert the camels. So Lithuanians basically are good against almost any other cavalry civ if you play them correctly. However, they will lose to civs that have just better cavalry than them in general. So Huns or Berbers, Lithuanians will actually struggle against, and archer civs. So Vikings, all the civs that have really good cavalry. Archers and anti-cavalry. Lithuanians will struggle against that. You can argue that skirms, but skirms.
Here's more pike raid for you.
Yep.
I kind of felt bad. Okay, he put a house foundation which hasn't been built here, but like his base is starting to be so open. He has all of this eco out and around here, and the skirms are just trying to chase down all of these pikemen. And this is like, at this point, I wasn't microing these pikemen. I just kind of like, oh look, there's eco over there. Hey, go have fun. Because I'm working right at this point. I'm dropping another TC. I'm thinking about knights, building up knights, and on the right flank. In fact, they're going in now. I've broken through on this side again.
Here's the problem with how Endo played this. Because he let you have map control for even that slight 2 minutes, you have gotten 2 relics. those are the 2 relics you need for your knights to be stronger than his knights. So now you can see, if you click on one of his knights, he's gonna have what? 10 plus 1. Oh, he even get all the attack upgrades too. So your knights have +4,
And
his
he
knights
has
have
+1. Wow, yeah.
So that's so you already win the knight fight in equal numbers when you have 1 more attack than him. You have 3 more attack than him. So that's gonna win you the. I mean, you didn't take this fight very well, but here's the thing: you're flooding him with knights. He cannot make enough knights to counter at you because, like I said, he doesn't have the attack upgrades, and he invested in skirms, and his eco is really hard hit by the raids. So, honestly speaking,
Yeah.
that those like 5 to 10 minutes you had map control, now you're in control of the game already.
Right.
That's why I say in this matchup, when you have map control, you are gonna be the one in the winning position.
Right.
You can come back from not having map control, but it's very difficult because one, if you're Lithuanians, you don't get the relics. Your knights in Imperial Age will lose to his cavalier because your cavalier do not have blast furnace and he does. And then if you are playing defensive boom as Lithuanians, if you don't have stone and gold, you are forced to go trash, and then Franks with their throwing axemen, knights, cavalier combo will just destroy the trash combination.
I was very happy with going on both sides over here. Like he responded to the attack in the south, and so I went in the north, and I'm getting more Vil kills. Like at this point, like I didn't really care if I lost some of my army. I was confident that I was just keeping his eco suppressed. Let's see, what is his Vil count?
Very, very bad.
Yeah. Yeah, now 50 to, yeah.
Up to him.
Yeah.
So remember what I said earlier? Skirms, you need the 2 upgrades for attack, you need the 2 upgrades for armor, you need ballistics. And you need to build the skirm, you also need elite skirm.
Yeah.
So you basically, before your elite skirm can even counter the pikeman, you already need about 1,600 resources worth of upgrades.
Yeah.
Do you think that's worth it for pikeman?
So what is his
Siege,
response
right?
instead? Siege or crossbow?
Siege or okay, so Franks normally don't go crossbow anyway. Like Franks don't go archery. So Siege is one. If he went on stone earlier, like he needed to go on stone earlier to get throwing axemen out. He didn't. So you can see that because of that, right? Because he didn't go into throwing axemen, he has a ton of gold. He has 1,800 gold floating, and all his skirms are dead, and a lot of his vills are dead.
He has enough stone
If he went
for
on
a
stone-
castle,
If he went on
but
stone earlier, yeah, now he has enough stone. But earlier on, when he saw the pikeman, if he did not, if he went on stone straight away, right, and got the castle up, 1, he would defend 1 point of his eco. 2, he would be able to make throwing axemen to stop the pikeman, and then he would be in a very different situation. Because like I said, as long as one player, like you give Lithuanians enough map control to get the relics, he gets the relics, you're in trouble. Because those 2 relics that you got allowed you to basically steamroll him like crazy. Now he gets the castle up, but it's a bit too late already. He's already too far behind, and I think he knows it because he's nowhere close up to him.
oh yeah, I think he
You're
yeah.
still raiding him with knights. So yeah, like after this, he has to call it.
Yep.
But that is an example of a game where if you play the map control game right. Now see, if remember earlier on I said if you added siege. Now imagine if you had rams, and you push with your pikemen. Not only did you kill vills, but you kill buildings, you kill stables, you kill TCs, you kill monasteries. Imagine you could do all that. You could have actually ended the game in Castle Age if you did the pike siege correctly. And because he built the forward 3 archery ranges, say he built the forward 3 archery ranges, you knock them all down with rams, and now he builds the archery range at the back, but he sees pike and ram, and he only has knights and potentially skirms. How's he going to fight that? By the time he gets his siege up, right, he would have already lost like the front of his base. Already.
So
that's
okay.
why, like,
So I yeah, no, I get what you say. I didn't go into Pike and Siege on this one because I was anticipating the throwing axeman, which would have killed Pike and Siege.
Yep.
So
like I said,
yeah.
he had a very short time window to react to you once he saw your pikes. So that's why I said the moment you hit Castle Age and you add that siege workshop, then you start adding rams. You show up at his base, right? So he sees your pikes already, right? So he has so your pike and siege will then have about 3 minutes around there. 3 minutes to
Okay.
hit the front of his base and destroy everything. Those
Gotcha.
3 minutes are not enough time for him to get up a castle and get throwing axemen out.
I see what you're saying. You're
that's
saying Pike and Siege window before the throwing axeman?
Yeah. So when you do Pike Siege, right, as an opening in Castle Age, say if you're behind, like in this game, if you go throwing Pike Siege correctly and hit at the perfect time, you will kill the entire front of his base before he goes throwing axemen. And once he goes throwing axemen, then you stop making pikes, you stop making siege, and then you go into knights like you would have done in this game otherwise.
Gotcha.
Like your original plan was to go knights anyway, right? Like after you got map control. The thing is, Pike and Siege would put him more behind than going just pure pikeman. It was still good here. Like I say, it was well executed because he didn't know how to react to the pikeman. But say if he went to throwing X-Men, like straight away, like he went up, he got like 8 villagers on that stone, and then he got up the castle. He would have already made a couple of throwing X-Men. Yeah, then your pikeman would not have been so effective. But because he got so delayed making throwing X-Men, your pikeman actually raided and killed villagers and took map control, and then the knight follow-up just sealed the deal. So that's just a game well played by you, but it's also capitalizing that you're punishing him for not making for not getting into the castle and making throwing X-Men earlier. So that's why I say this game was just a very well executed game on your end, because you were actually very behind.
I was, yeah. The Vil being down, I think he aged up faster. Yeah, he hit Castle Age, and that's something that's been really getting to me. It's just like Frank's getting to Castle Age first, and you know, my response has been with Knights, and just it doesn't work.
I would say you played that very well. That is exactly how you react when your opponent is up to the next age before you. Like, that's one of the 2 ways to react. So one of the 2 ways to react when your opponent is up to Castle Age a hell lot faster than you. So I'm not talking like 1 minute. Because 1 minute I think is still fine. But if you're behind Castle Age by 2 minutes, and it happens at higher elo games also, there are 2 things that you need to do. The first thing is make a lot of trash that you know that your opponent is going to go unit A. You make a lot of the counter unit for unit A, and then you just push the guy. You just push the guy, you go full aggressive, you make like 4, 5 racks, maybe a siege workshop, and then you just push the guy and end the game in Castle Age. That's the first thing you do if your opponent is up to Castle Age before you. By the way, that has happened before in many of my games, and I've actually won games like that. Like just going full aggressive Castle Age. I don't even lay down a second TC. I just go one TC all in after I see my opponent goes up faster than me, and just swarm him, and then he dies.
I think there was sort of like a phase on the ladder where I was doing that a lot. I've kind of grown out of it, but yeah, because then I find like okay, I'm pressuring. Oh, they're in the Imperial Age, and I have 2 food. Yeah.
So the thing about doing like a full castle aggressive move like that is, one, you need to make the right units. So you make the trash unit that counters the main army comp he's using. You also make siege or castles, because you don't want to just stop him, you want to end the game. So you put down forward siege, you make lots of rams, you make mangonels, you push those buildings, or you drop a castle in his face and you make a castle unit that's very good at pressuring your opponent. So like for Turks, for example, I like Turks because they drop down the forward castle, they go Janissaries kill siege, Janissaries outrange TCs, and they kill everything. The only thing that Janissaries cannot counter is probably Skirm, and then that's where you go siege. Like I said, you have siege and you have the counter unit, and then you just full aggressive kill your opponent. The other thing you could do, which is the second way, is to play defensive and
that's what we saw here.
Coming into your base. You prevent your opponent from coming into your base with his unit. So let's say he's making knights or he's making crossbow, you get up defensive siege, you get up defensive walls, you wall up, you slowly make like some siege or some monks behind to try and defend against the aggression. Meanwhile behind, you go 3 TC boom. And then you hit Imperial with higher eco than him because he invested way too much in aggression. And then you end the game because you're an Imperial, he's not. So even if you cannot, like let's say he gets you off your forward goal and you only have your back goal, and your back goal you spend on clicking up to Imperial and making the siege or monk to stop his push.
Was I
Whatever
late
goal you
in
have left.
it? Since I was playing defensively, was I late in putting a 3? So again, like once he saw that I had pikes and that's what I had, and I made my push with the pikes and did all the rady stuff. I wasn't my mindset. Unlike in the last game, which I don't want to bring up just yet, but the one where I played Teutons, that I definitely defended and boomed because Teutons. But here it was like, haha, surprise, I was actually building pikes, while you were making knights, and now I'm going to push and attack that, and try to use that to my advantage, while making the unit that's going to counter your response too. But I did not build a third TC until like way late. Like I have this one TC, I think way late. Anyway, I remember building 2 TCs and then adding the third later. Do you agree with that, or do you think it was a mistake?
So, because you were very ahead, I think adding eco is totally fine here. Like I said earlier, it really is a game where, I mean, I told you that you could go siege ram, sorry, pike and siege, but you saw that you played very well in this game despite not going pike siege because of the way you use your pikemen, and that's the important part about the game. Strategy you do, the amount of strategies you can do is very vast. And there is no one solid way to win the game. There are ways to win the game that are tried, tested, and really good, like the stuff that I'm telling you, or the stuff that I'm used to. But that doesn't mean that other types of strategies can't work if you can execute them correctly. So like I said, because you took map control, you took relics, you went forward your pikes, and you attacked his you attacked his base on multiple fronts when his army was away. That allowed you to really secure the game, and basically get up to the point where you could actually like counter him, because like your opponent was making pikes. No, sorry, your opponent was making knights and skirms. So by having like upgraded Lithuanian knights against that, you actually counter everything that he makes with that little switch. So I said the only thing that you have really struggled against is if your opponent went throwing X-Men earlier. And maybe like going the knights later may not be as good because you have defensive castles. But then you just click up to Imperial, and then you get Cavalier, and then you just flood him. And because you click up to Imperial earlier,
so the 2 TC or the one into a sort of like a delayed second TC was okay, because at that point when I hit Castle Age, basically I was aggressive and pressuring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So you add TCs. You add TCs when you know what strategy your opponent is going for. So your opponent is going for a defensive strategy. You can either add more TCs and boom and be ahead of him in eco. So if he goes 3 TC, you go 4, because you know he's not going to attack you, right? You go 3 TC, you go like 1 more TC than he does. So say he's making 3 TC, you make 4, or he makes 4 TC, you make 5. That's where scouting comes into play. And then you just boom harder than him, and you kill him in imp if you have a better imp comp than him. So like you turn the game into a late game slogfest if you have the army comp for it. So let's say you're Lithuanians, right? You have answers for the Franks. You have Halberdier with tower shields, which is really good against the fully upgraded Frank Cavalier. If you manage to get the 2 relics, which assume you did, then you would have the same level of Cavalier strength as his, because like I said, Lithuanians only lack Blast Furnace, so they get the 2 relics, they'll be having the same upgrades as the Franks, but they really want like 1 more relic, because Frank Cavalier do have more HP. And yeah, like basically you do have a stronger Imperial comp than him. But since you go aggressive, right, adding your TCs later to add on to your eco once you know you have pressured his is totally fine. It's totally another option to go for, and you are still producing off your military production, which is important when you're doing like TC boom, especially since both of your TCs you realize are forward. So if your opponent actually responded with aggression, he would actually have killed the villagers outside on your outlying TCs. Yeah. That's what my opponent did to me a few games back. Like he knew that if he defended his home with siege and monk, and then he sent like whatever cavalry he could make to my base, because my base didn't have any defenses. He killed villagers, and I was already behind because I was doing an aggressive strat, so I would not have as much equal as my opponent who went 3 TC Cumans. So he already went 2 TC as a Cuman, but then he added a 3rd TC in castle, so he was actually ahead of me, very very ahead of me in eco. So when you're defending, when you're in a defensive position, try and sneak out a raiding party to your opponent when you can. If you cannot, then just make sure you kill the aggression on your base. So, because we're going to go into the next game, and that's when the whole aggressive and defensive thing will come into play. So, shall we load up the next game?
Yeah, I think I have time for at least one more. The next one I think is actually pretty short. So yeah. Hopefully we won't make. Chef says that like if we do this, we're gonna be up to 7 a.m., which I'm hoping isn't the case. But yeah, so the next game is Gold Rush. This was his third home map, I think, or so, I don't know, I can't count. But anyway, yeah, Gold Rush, and so let me. It's loading up. I do want to go over sort of my state of being going into this. I'm gonna pause. I'm at 7 seconds. After that game, I think two things happened. The one sort of like I wasn't really sure. I didn't. The first so for the first three games, at least for game 1 and game 3, I was quite certain what civ he was going, and so I thought about how I was going to deal with that. With the second one, I wasn't really sure what he was going, even if I thought about it like the Japanese made sense. But I thought about like the civ that I was going to play to the map, and I think that worked out. You know, on a more open map, if he goes forward with 4 men-at-arms and his scout, as he did, well, I mean, obviously it would be a completely different game. I couldn't fast castle on, or you know, even attempt to do something like that on an open map. I would have died in Feudal Age in that circumstance, instead of, you know, surviving and going on to Boom. But on this one, I wasn't sure what civ he was going to pick. He obviously picked Italians. He had Sicilians left, and he had Bulgarians. And I don't know. Nothing about this map really solidifies. I think I may have thought like, okay, Italians made sense because faster castle time means you get the castle in the center first, and that's what I was kind of thinking, if anything. But unfortunately for me, my energy kind of tanked before this one, and I started getting super tired. Not like game fatigue, but just it was past 4 a.m. I think, and yeah, maybe I felt a little bit like too confident or whatever. Like, okay, I've secured. You know, I'm 3-0. You know, my opponent's kind of beat up. Maybe I let off the pedal a little bit, but my energy dropped absolutely, and I think it really showed in this game. So do you want to go ahead and play it at 7 seconds? I'll do.
Right, I'm ready for you.
I'll do a countdown. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. So I like to think of because you won't always be able to predict your opponent's civ perfectly. So I like to think that being able to react to the civ matchup is also as important as being able to know what kind of civ that your opponent will pick in a show match. So that's one skill that you gotta build up by playing a lot of random different civs and knowing what their tech trees are capable of. I mean, it's a lot to learn. Like the game is huge.
I have played for most of the time on my ladder. I have played random. It's probably why I get salty about like when I see, you know, oh, I just lost to someone who's played the past 5,000 games as Franks, which has happened, or you know, or Mongols or whatever.
You will see a lot of civ pickers on the ladder. But,
yeah.
At the end of the day, right, they are just trying to get points. If you really want to get better at the game, you do need to practice different civs. You do need to know what the different civs are capable of. Because at the end of the day, if you really want to like enjoy AoE 2 for what it really is, and that is a huge different types of strategies all around, you really do need to try and play the other civs.
Absolutely.
Tell me, Gwen, What do you know about the Vikings?
So I know, I know about the Viking. I know that they are essentially an archer civ, or at least militarily, like unit comp. I see them as going archers into and then late game, like post imp, infantry maybe. If the archers and like some trebs or something don't end the game. If they don't end the game and it goes post imp or whatever, like having an infantry switch to deal with, say, light cav or just raiding with berserkers is great. But their opening is sort of like archers with a really strong economy behind that. And that's I guess if I was thinking, maybe that's where my head was at. It was like, okay, he's going to castle the center, possibly, because he's Italian, he's going to get up to castle a little bit earlier because I think they're a bit cheaper, and he's going to try to control the gold. And I mean, maybe I wasn't really sure what to do about that, but I knew that, like, if I have, I thought, so like, he's Italian, he's probably going archers, but if I have better eco, even if he gets up first, I should be able to, I don't know, beat his army or something. But all of that, all of that's going to happen in Castle Age. And then if it gets to Imperial, I'm going to be on, 3 TC boom, Viking eco with a massive arbs. And can you guess that none of this happened?
Okay, so I would say, honestly speaking, in this game, we'll talk about it later because he hasn't gone to that part yet. But Vikings on this map, they really want to pressure hard with crossbow or pressure hard with archers. So I know that your energy level kind of dipped in this because in game 1, we saw that you actually quick walk pretty decently. You lost the build 2 in game 1, but overall I think that your quick walling and your reaction has been very good. Especially the game 2. The game 2 reaction of sending your eagles to raid while he wasn't looking. He wasn't prepared for that. So I would say that your strategy and decision making in the show match was very, very well done. So in this match, like, kind of seeing you let go was like, I guess she's been performing like really well over the last few games. So maybe just losing one game, it's not a big deal. But yeah, I could feel that you're getting tired also.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like 4 a.m. in the morning.
So I feel like
I don't think I'll be able to play AE at 4 a.m. in the morning. I don't know how Chef does it.
I swear, like 20% of my brain power is being taken up by the fact that I can't see half of my lumber camp. I can't see the trees. The small trees do not work on the birch trees. I think the maybe I can find an updated version. I think the birch trees are just either massive or they were added after the small trees mod existed or something. But yeah, no,
I think you got unlucky with your small trees mod because my small trees mod works okay. The lumber camp needs a bit of work.
Yeah, you don't say. No, it's contacting one of the trees.
Yeah,
one.
Well, that's still a very bad lumber camp. Like, the next tree you have to take is 2 tiles away.
I know.
The next few trees you have to take is all 2 tiles away. So
I know, it's so bad.
Yeah, like, I mean, if your energy level is dipping, I totally understand. So, what was your build order here? Were you going for archers? Like archers?
Well, okay, what is my build count? 22?
23.
So men-at-arms into archers.
Yeah, so
22 pop men-at-arms into archers.
I remember this game.
Oh, you do?
I know what was the main criticism for this game already. Okay, so you got to feudal. So your opponent is Italians, and you did not scout his opening, like I said. Have you ever seen this spawn before, by the way? Because me and Chef were wondering, because we saw both your scouting patterns. And
I
know that they can actually spawn next to each other.
No, I did not. I scouted. I went around the side, and I was very surprised to see his TC right there. And I lost my scout to the TC, if I recall. Yeah.
Yeah. So he killed your scout. You don't know that he's wearing arms, which is a very big problem, because that's actually one of the biggest problems. If you cannot scout the man-at-arms opening, it comes in and it kills. You only have 2 tiles or 3 tiles worth of vision to react to it, and that's a very big, a very, very small time window. Like even the most experienced players would die to that.
I've got my
unless they've got like reaction. Unless they've got like reaction.
I've got my 3 militia. I'm prepared to use them defensively, but I'm trying to go out on their wall. There's the villager taking hit points. Yeah, the timing on this is really bad. I think the quick wall fails.
Right here, this is where you should eject your militia right now. You eject your militia right now, you fight them. Because right now you don't see man-at-arms. And your man-at-arms have more HP than his.
Yep.
So if you take the fight right now, okay, now you're man-at-arms, so you can't fight them now. But now you have your man-at-arms upgrade. You need to send your man-at-arms to fight these now. Just pull a couple of villagers to help you and pull out ungarrison your man-at-arms right now. But like you said, you were tired. So I totally understood that you didn't react to this at all. Because now he's gonna kill your mining camp. You have no gold.
Yeah.
And you have an archery range, but you cannot produce anything.
Yeah.
So right now you're just
that's a real like you can literally see it. I send the villagers forward to go get gold, and it's like, oh, I can't build a mining camp, and so it's like, and now I have 20 villagers cutting down one tree, and my men-at-arms are just sitting inside the barracks. I don't especially know why.
Yeah, so
there they are.
Like I said, the lethargy is starting to kick in, so I totally understand that you're going through this, but this wall didn't really go off, so like you
I needed that house, and just half a second too late on that, like that last little house, and now I'm taking a whole bunch of idle time.
So I noticed that you garrison your men-at-arms into the TC as well.
That was that's a misclick. I was like, where the hell are they?
So do you know about
I do
clicking your
I do.
Okay, so you do know about the clicking.
Yeah,
okay.
no, that was just
dragging the military thing.
Yeah, Alt and Control is to select, villagers only or military only. It was just,
Yeah, I mean, you were flustered.
Absolutely.
Like I said,
absolutely.
I lose. I will still lose. I actually lost 3 villagers to man-at-arms recently also. So I totally understand but you see, because you pulled off your villagers to fight earlier, like you didn't need to pull your villagers off at all the resources. You just needed to fight with your men-at-arms together. You maybe lose only 1 vill. But you can see that your idle equal time is like 25 minutes. That's a very huge deal. Because right now, your opponent has 4 archers, and he's going to get fletchlings soon, because he's going to build a blacksmith. So, he really built a blacksmith. So, you are in a very, very rough spot here. So, in this situation, I would get a second range up. I would start producing scouts for a while.
That's something that I regretted not having. I thought, so I've heard Viper say you only need 1 range to counter archers. You only need you only need 1 range producing skirmishers to counter 2 ranges producing archers. And so I thought at first, like, okay, I'm fine on what.
He didn't tell you how to do it.
but look at me, I'm producing archers and I'm behind. Why am I producing archers when I'm behind? He's already got 6 archers out, and now I have almost 3. So I'm behind, and I know he has archers because my men-at-arms are dying pointlessly to them.
So in this situation, take all your villagers off gold. You want to focus on food and wood.
I do start producing skirmishers. I'm doing that. Look. Okay. So I do still have the brain cells to pull my villagers off gold. That's good. I am producing skirmishers. I think I do get. I don't have my archer armor upgraded. I don't have the food. I have a blacksmith up. Okay, here it is. Here's the armor.
The blacksmith is like.
So
you really needed the,
and here you go. I actually think I take a decent fight at first before I get overwhelmed. Here here I'm not going to be able to wall him out. I in fact lose a villager there, and he's going to come through the front. And here's where I really should have. I don't know, taken the bullet and build a defensive tower on my gold. Something. Because now I've lost the gold on the left. Now I can't control the gold on the right, and
you would have had to put a tower on the left side. and just like
And
go on the stone and the gold. That way you get up a market and you sell the stone. That way you can afford
Yeah.
your upgrades and you can afford to make a double range crossbow in Castle Age.
I-
Now, right, you don't have the army mass. You have the upgrades, but you don't have the army mass.
yeah.
And you don't know how many units he's gonna make and how much he's going to be on that resource.
Mhm.
Yeah, like
And he's clicking up the
you-
castle. I'm nowhere close.
so. You really needed to check his upgrades because you saw that he only had archers. So you take a decent fight here. I know you did because I casted this game. So so you're very very late up. You know you're very late up. Put down a market, and click up. Don't worry about the repercussions. Just sell your stone and click up because you know that you cannot add the second TC until later. So just put down a market, click up.
Yep.
And then go back into making crossbow because you need to make crossbow. Because at the end of the day, right, Vikings do not have a good defensive core unit. Their knights suck, and
Yep.
they have free wheelbarrow, so they can produce very quickly off of resources. So I'm not saying it happens straight away, but in this match, you went skirms against your opponent, which is a huge mistake because like I said, Vikings really want to make crossbow. Like,
Yeah.
if your opponent, because your opponent is Italians, he has better knights, and he's gonna make knights to supplement this army. And I'm not sure if you notice it, but I think he eventually adds a stable, just not now. But when the knights come out, and you only have skirms, very deep shit.
Yeah. All of a sudden, he like it felt good. He was running away. Like, I guess I feel like I have enough skirmishers to take on its fight, and then all of a sudden he changes his mind, turns tail, and just clears out my army. And yet that's when it's really dawning on me that, like, oh, I'm in trouble. Well, I mean, no, I know I've been in trouble for a while now, but now it's I have nothing. I have like 4 skirms to my name, and they're not even elite, and I can't produce archers because I've been off gold. I'm stuck in a skirmisher thing. I'm rebuilding. I'm making a 3rd mining camp because I know that this gold, I'm about to lose control of my forward gold.
Okay.
I've already built
let me
3
explain.
lumber camps.
Let me explain what you could have done here. So, what I said earlier, you don't need 25 farms. You have way too many villagers on farm, and you're reseeding the farms. Okay, that's very.
Yeah,
very
I'm also making a
Because I said-
stable for some reason. Don't ask me why.
Yeah. Like I said, lethargy kind of kicking in, so I can kind of see why you kind of like were losing sense of the game in this one. But if say you're on a stable set of mind, go down the market, sell your food like mad, sell your stone actually even because you need gold, and you need to get into crossbow, because the only thing that can stop crossbow if Endo sees the crossbow is skirm, and you can counter skirm by having siege. You have siege and crossbow, and that is the ideal comp that Vikings want to go at the end of the day, and then you take the middle. Because right now, taking the middle, you're not taking the middle, so you're gonna be you're gonna be behind in gold. You gotta make good use of that gold and retake the middle as soon as you can. But right now, you make knights. That is the beginning of the end, because you would have to put resources into making knights. You have to get the knights. You have to get your upgrades. That's way too much resources. You're better off just going siege. You're better off just putting down a siege workshop and adding a mangonel or a few scorpions, and it will help your army. And like I said, not being able to produce crossbow is probably the biggest problem of this particular match. Because when you're not able to make crossbow, and your opponents are able to make crossbow, you're losing. And yeah, you really didn't need that many villagers on farms. You really wanted like maybe 15 on farms, or you just put out a market and go up, and then have 6 on farms, enough to keep your TC active, and then just go full all in crossbows and siege. Because that's what you can actually do even when you're behind. Because like I said, you're operating on Viking eco, so you're gonna have a lot of resources in Castle Age even when you're this behind. Because right now your view count is even, but your army advantage is very very low because you don't have the correct army to deal with it.
Yeah.
So like I said, take the villagers of farms, sell all the extra food, make siege and crossbow. Then you push the middle, secure the middle, you TC the middle, then you start adding farms. Then you start going into post-imp Vikings, which is fully upgraded arps, siege ram, and pikemen. and berserk if you can really like have a lot of resources to throw. So here, like you just kind of like really struggle in Castle Age because you made a very bad army comp in Castle Age.
Yep.
Which, like I said, I mean, you were under pressure. You didn't know what army comp to go for.
Yeah.
Or now that
You're telling me that so the army comp that Ando picked. Ando went Knights and Skirms in the last game and died, and here
crossbow and skirm. Yeah.
No, he in this one, yes, but as Franks in the previous game, as Franks, he went Knights and Skirms, and here I am, Knights and Skirms, and yeah,
he lost.
Yeah.
The reason why like you died harder here
as Vikings too, like
he has a big crossbow mess.
Mm-hmm.
You have a big crossbow mess. He has a big crossbow mess, and you don't.
I don't know why I at least didn't build a siege workshop. Do I build a siege workshop?
Yeah.
No, I'm making a TC. Oh my god. Yeah. No, I'm. Yeah. I gave up on that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like.
Siege workshop would have been needed.
I mean, you were panicking probably.
Oh yeah.
You were panicking probably. So next time, just at the second range on your way up, put the villagers off the farms. Basically, don't auto receipt. My biggest suggestion is, if you have auto receipt turned on, just turn it off. Unless you're booming, then you turn it on. Otherwise, don't turn on auto receipt. I know it sucks your APM, but it's better to control your resources without auto receipt than to just like let them auto receipt, waste your wood. Like you have 1,600 food, and you are not able to produce any food you need for it, and now he's just killing all your bills.
Yeah.
So like I said earlier, if you just put your enough villagers to keep your TC active, like 6, and then you market the bills up, or you put 15 on farms, you don't reseed them, and then you click up, you add 2 range, you try and get the upgrades for crossbow, because you want to fight his crossbow mess in your own crossbow mess, archer v archer. And if he adds knights, you're not afraid because you have crossbows. We upgraded crossbows. If your archer mess is stronger than his archer mess, you don't care about the crossbows that he made. So if you can, just make the 2 range plus siege, or you just go 3 range, take the middle, and then you start going each. Because here, like just not being able to go crossbow at all really hurt your opening.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, right, in Castle Age, right, both of you had the exact same view count, and you have Viking eco backing you up.
Yeah.
So you actually have better eco than him. At that specific point before he added the TC, you had better eco than him. And in actuality, you always must think of yourself as having better eco than your opponent if you have better eco bonuses than your opponent. So Franks, Vikings, Mayans, Celts, Burmese, all these civs that have inbuilt like eco bonus inside, Aztecs also. All these civs that have this inbuilt eco bonus inside them, they are going to have stronger eco regardless of the number of villagers that you kill from them. So always capitalize on army when you are playing these civs over eco. So here, your army comp decision was a little horrible, like I said, because
very horrible, yeah.
When you didn't have good cavalry. If you had cavalry, then maybe you could have done a knight switch, because you only built 1 range, right? If you had better cavalry, making a knight switch here is totally okay. But you didn't have good cav, so a knight switch was horrible. And not only that, it was wasted. And you had like I said, you just had so much food. You just couldn't spend that food. You couldn't sell the food to get crossbow because you didn't have enough buildings to make the crossbow. You didn't make an archery. You didn't make a siege workshop, so you couldn't kill the crossbow mess easier. Cause like, Endo didn't make a siege workshop here. So if you had the few mangonels before he did, he's gonna be behind because he's gonna lose his crossbow mess, and then he's gonna push. You're gonna push his position in the middle. He can't attack you in the middle because you have siege. You force a siege workshop from him, but because if you do your siege correctly and you push down the middle, you take the middle. Now he's in trouble because he does not have the eco bonus that Vikings have. He cannot challenge your position when you take the middle.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to win him from there once you play that rough early game out.
Yeah. I would take on.
You were so behind.
I would take Vikings over Italians any day. I agree with you what you're saying, and I really threw with the decision. So like the yeah maybe yeah I didn't have. I feel like at parts I didn't have enough on wood, and then when I needed the gold, I couldn't. And that remember when I couldn't build a mining camp because I didn't have the wood, and so then that delayed my gold, and so that delayed archers, and it was.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like one of the biggest problems that you made here was not ejecting your man-at-arms immediately.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That was probably the biggest problem. You didn't even need to quick war. You actually fight with your bills as long as your men-at-arms were there. Like, you will lose 1 or 2 bills, whatever.
Mm-hmm. But I have Viking. Yeah.
Off, you get the pressure off. You can deal with his archer pressure later.
Instead, my whole economy was shut down for like a solid minute and a half.
Well, it was more than that, but yeah, like you just couldn't really like do anything while the man-at-arms are. I mean, that is actually man-at-arms archers executed correctly. But being able to deal with the man-at-arms opening is a good indicator of how successful you'll be. Because honestly, like, you can lose feudal, and then you go into early castle age, you're still behind. But if you take a few fights, and you take a few, you do a few engagements better. And like I said, because you're Vikings, your opponent is actually pressured to put more pressure on you because you're Vikings. So yeah, if your opponent is pressured to put more pressure on you because you're Vikings, you will have harder time winning in that situation if you're not Vikings. Because like I said, Italians are very good archery cavalry because of their Genoese crossbowmen and the fact that they have cavalry themselves and good monks. Against other archers, Italians are actually a little bit lackluster.
Yeah.
Like they actually need to fit in their own knights. They actually need to fit in their own knights if they cannot win the archer fight. And that's an investment. So Italians, in my opinion, is very versatile, but not very good in very specialized matchups. Like, okay, specifically Archer v Archer. Archer v Cavalry, I say they are still quite okay, but Archer v Archer is... The other Archer Civ is usually better, unless it's like Magyars or Slavs. Like, these are civs that have crossbow, they have crossbow, and they also can go very strong knights. Those are the matchups that Italians would probably struggle in. But against like a really specialized archer civ like Vikings, I would say Italians actually might struggle a bit. In fact, I recently got coached by Survivalist, and he said that Italians even beat civs like Bulgarians just because they have very good options. Like,
oh yeah, well, I mean, Bulgarians don't have crossbow.
Yeah, and they also have to tank to skirm. Like, you have siege, but it's still difficult to get into.
Oh man, I would really love to get to the last game. I am going to have to pause the review till tomorrow. I've got work, so I need to wrap things up about now. But I would love to continue on to the next games tomorrow maybe.
Sure.
We have there is to foreshadow a little bit. I think the next game is being on Atacama and Goths versus Magyars. Yeah, Goths versus Magyars. So actually after this game, like I just kind of took a step back from my desk and realized like, wow, I am a zombie right now. Like, what the hell just happened? Clearly something isn't right, and something has changed. So I was like, okay, yeah, no, I'm very tired. And I was like quite literally out of coffee, so I couldn't even try to like chug some coffee or something. So I went. You may remember, it wasn't actually that long, I think, but I went outside and I grabbed a bicycle and rode around the block like twice.
Wait, did you really do that?
I really did that. Yes. And
Wow.
it kind of worked. But I think, okay, so when I got back, and I mean, like, I didn't lackadaisically go, like, I kind of sprinted around the it's not a block, but the circle around the neighborhood or whatever. And so I came back like, not out of breath, but I felt more awake. But when I went into the next game, like I think we may see it. I misclicked or something. Like my fingers were all very fumbly because it was too much. My heart rate was up, so a lot of things going on. It was very dramatic for me. But regardless, I think I did wake up a little bit. I again made poor decisions in that game, which there's plenty to talk about. And then of course I really want to get to the last game. Teutons versus Bulgarians. But that, if you will wait for me, we'll have to wait till tomorrow.
No problem.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I was a little surprised when I had a DM from you, and you were like, "Hey, would you like to help me do a bit of a review of the show match stuff?" And I was like, "Oh, sure, no problem." It's one thing to play a show match, but to actually ask someone to help you with getting better at the game, yeah, that is something I can honestly respect, and I'm very happy that you won the show match. But I'm happier that you are actually asking me what you could have done better in that show match. Because there are a lot of times, right? We think about how we play and we think, oh, okay, I did this right, but getting someone else to help you with the game, yeah, that's not easy.
Well, there's definitely things to criticize, especially in this game and in the next one. I think especially the next one, because that was, I was in that one a little bit longer. And I think that was more about me making I made bad calls, and I made bad predictions, and then I made bad decisions. So I made like the wrong prediction, and then I made bad decisions to just sort of seal the deal. But more on that later. So yeah, plenty to learn from that one. And then I'm just excited to talk about the last one.
I'm excited to talk about the last one also. Because, like I said, right? I think both of you played that last game very well, but obviously that there are a lot of things that both of you could have done better. That obviously I, as someone who analyzes AoE, I can say that I kind of had an idea of what you could have done better.
Okay.
But it was still a very good game to watch because, honestly speaking, the show match you had with Endo was probably one of the best show matches I've casted so far.
Oh my god!
Both of you were very even. Both of you made very, very great plays and misplays against each other, and that's why honestly, Endo being able to do what he did when he was 3-0, he was 0-3, that was not easy, and I'm very happy that he still put up a very good fight in that show match.
Absolutely.
But do rest well, Gwen. I'll see you tomorrow. And,
all right.
We'll go through the last few games.
Sounds good.